Yeah, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys, let's go. Saturday, May 4th. Let me know if you can hear me okay in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or something. We're going to bring some guests on. At least for sure, Mediocre is going to be joining us tonight. I did call Massalorian. No answer. Johnny, let us know if you're alive, buddy. Scott Gray, good evening. Jedi Master Jay, good evening. Mediocre, once you're set up there, give me a thumbs up in the backstage. I wonder if we'll get backstage Ryan Cohen joining the chat tonight. Let's see. We're gonna bring Mediocre in here. See how his weekend is going, and I'll catch you up on mine so far. We'll talk about some trades that we did last week and a lot of things that are on your mind and our mind for this coming week. Without further ado, Mediocre Trader, also known as the Monkey Tamer. Mediocre, what's going on, amigo?
What's up, man? How you been?
Oh, last week was pretty good, except we had a little bit of canine veterinary emergency issues ending the week.
I heard that. Sorry to hear that too.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to work a little bit harder this month, Mediocre, because, golly, do you know how expensive 24-hour care is in the vet industry?
Yes, I do.
$1,500 a day.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I had to put a down payment on that to get us through the weekend, and we'll see what news they have coming up for us on Monday. But the old pup is having some kidney issues, possible renal failure. So Scarlett is not very happy, obviously.
Can they get him well, you think?
Do I what?
Can they get him well, you think?
Oh, well, they have to identify what is causing the problem before they can identify a treatment plan. So that's where we're stuck. And I don't know. How many days does that take? How much money do you spend on a 13, 14-year-old dog? Do you spend $3,000? Do you spend $5,000? Do you spend $10,000 to get him an extra year with some medicine? Or I don't know. We're going to have to decide on Monday, I guess. But we're already in. We're in for 3,500, Mediocre. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You might have some extra live streams from me this month, guys. Other than that, we had quite an interesting week trading wise, with a lot of different stocks, lots of news. GameStop pushed up. We got news on DJT. We got obviously AMC earnings coming up. I saw a lot of battle bots going on in the Mullen community on Twitter this week. What's been going on with you?
I had company week. My in-laws were up here. We had a wedding we had to attend. It was a nice wedding. So I haven't really been around much this week, and we're back. Everybody's back at home. We're living a dream, baby. Let's go.
Let's freaking go, man.
All right. Lucky I was able to trade last week, though. I made sure I got my trades in.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. I'm sure people are curious what we did last week. Mediocre, before we get into trades, though, Yeah, I've noticed a funny trend, as I know you were holding your stock from 2021 through 2023 when we made the shift that we talked about
Absolutely.
from AMC to APE, and I did as well. And as I discussed over the past 3 years, there were a couple times, 3 or 4 maybe, between 2021 and 2023, where I thought AMC was really cheap, so I bought call options, just your standard call option to ride the upward momentum. And
Yep.
those worked out for me, I think 75% of the time. One, I didn't make any money. But now that we've entered a new phase of AMC with the APE AMC conversion and the ongoing dilution, and knowing that this year is going to be flat on box office, we talked about changing our trading strategy at the
Yes, we
beginning
did.
of this year. We talked about it at the end of last year. We talked about it, and it's just funny to me as we discuss and try and be as transparent as possible with people. Now I hear them, oh, Tony's talking about selling covered calls or selling cash secured puts. That means he's been doing it for the last 3 years.
That's not true. But
That is
okay.
absolutely not true. I held, along with everybody else, my shares from 2021 into losses on those shares in 2023. I was fortunate that I had made a lot of money before YouTube days with call options in June of 2021, right? Long before I started on YouTube. So I'm in the enviable position for some that I will never be red on the play. Did I give some of my money back because I bought shares at 30, 40 bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave some back.
That's the thing. I'll be honest. I'll tell you flat out. I didn't sell a single share until I knew 100% that conversion was going to happen, and there was nothing else I could do about it.
It's
I was
just,
not going to give them my fucking money.
I just find it hilarious how people, the more you do to be transparent and open and honest and help people see how other people are trading something, they make these jumps, these conspiratorial jumps. Well, he's talking about this, therefore he must have been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years. Guys, if I was doing that, I would have freaking told you, just like I've been saying with GameStop since 2022. I've been telling you how I'm momentum trading. If I had done that with AMC, I would have said the same thing. So
Yeah.
let this freaking nut job people out there that hear you say something and, well, I don't believe it, I'm going to create my own theory. It is it's just astonishing to me, the nut jobs and the clowns that we have out there.
I don't care if they believe me or not, Tony. I do what I do. I wasn't doing it then, right? And stupidly, I held this thing for a very long time. I didn't make profit on it when I should have. I could have sold. I could have sold at 72, and I didn't. So whatever. I'm not
And
giving them my money. If you chose to give them your money, that's your business. But don't expect me to do the same.
what I say is, regrettably, I wish I was selling covered calls.
Yeah, me
I mean,
too.
we're making so much money with that strategy now, and I do it on every other stock. But much like many people in this play, and I hear it every day, I'm scared to sell covered calls because what if it runs up? That's a valid concern, right? And I shared that concern with AMC 2021 through 2023. Like, what if I'm sitting out there with covered calls and it has that magic run up and I lose my shares? Well, guess what, guys? I got over it. I got over it.
Rolf says he loves grape Kool-Aid, though.
I got over it. I got over it on AMC, and I treat it now like any other stock in my portfolio.
Yeah, me too. If it runs, yeah, I'll catch it. I'm not, I'm not worried about a short squeeze. Maybe if it happens, it happens. I'll catch the run up at some point. Maybe I don't capture the whole thing, Tony, but don't
That's the
worry, I'll
thing.
be there. I
That's
promise.
the thing. We might miss out on, look, if something starts running, we're always up in pre-market. And like I just said on the GameStop TA video that I just put out, like how I traded GameStop last week and what my plan is for this week, I did buy GameStop on Friday to enjoy that run up. and I sold it at the end of the day. And I'm sure there's people wondering, like, why the hell would you sell it? Did you not see the 2 massive green candles? Yeah, I did. And I locked in my gains, and those gains will be forever mine. If it goes down on Monday morning, the gains are mine. What if it goes up, Tony? What if it goes up on Monday?
Buy back in.
Bing, push the button, buy. This is something I think nobody talks about enough in this meme stock community, that it's very easy to buy. It's
Yeah,
very
no.
easy to buy. I don't know why people are so scared to lock
You know,
in gains.
you know what I noticed, Tony, in this community? It's very hard to sell, though.
It is,
They,
yeah. A lot of
I don't understand it, but it's there.
so I have my GameStop chart up here. Let's put it up real quick. And please
Yeah.
go watch the GameStop video that I just published, because we talked about the mistakes that I made on GameStop in the past 3 weeks and how I fixed them. And I recapped. I have said several times on this wedge, if it pushed through resistance, that would be very bullish, and I would be playing it if we push through. So that is exactly what I did on Friday. I've told you guys for 5 weeks what my plan was with GameStop. Wait for it to hit the bottom support, or wait for it to push through with confirmed momentum with strong bullish signals, and then ride that up. So I missed the bottom for reasons we discussed last week, linear versus log. I corrected that mistake last week, but by the time I corrected it, it was too late. We were already back up here at 1182. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it went red. So I wasn't trying to buy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm either going to wait for bottom support or wait for some confirmed upward momentum. We got that for me. Thursday was not good enough. What do you mean it's not good enough? Yeah, it was a big candle, but one big candle doesn't mean much. So as we get confirmation on Friday and push through that resistance, that's when I bought 1474, sold at 1661. Not the best profit, right? But it was profit. And whenever it comes back down, I'll try and get a better entry now that I got my support and resistance lines, I think, more accurately drawn. So all I do is share my journey. There have been plenty of times since 2022 on the earnings days where I've had very good trading on the momentum on GameStop. This was not my best, and I blame my chart drawing skills, log versus linear. But we got the entire year to play these cycles. And if it continues up next week, I'll be up Monday morning early, jump back in, ride the wave. That's what I love. It's freedom. It's absolute freedom. What are you thinking, Mediocre or Rolf? If you're in the chat, what are you thinking about GameStop?
I mean, I don't usually think much about it. You know that. I don't even look at it. But if I had some money to mess around and throw at it, if I was willing to risk some capital on it, I would just catch a momentum move and get out. That's just how I would do it.
I'm curious, Mediocre, based on the 5-minute chart here. I mean, we had the entire day, the second half of the day, sorry, is where the volume came in, and we had increasing price on increasing volume, which is bullish. But it started fading at the end of the day, but that's kind of understandable on a Friday, wouldn't you think? Just like
Yeah,
I was de-risking because I didn't want to hold it through the weekend. I'm sure other people were doing the same thing. Would you agree with that?
I was surprised that the market was moving in that direction. It was odd. It wasn't only GameStop.
Yeah,
There was others.
let me pull up the SPY here real quick. It kind of did the same thing. It started earlier in the day, that
Yeah.
upward momentum.
I'm not quite sure what the heck happened. If there was some sort of economic news or something. I wasn't really paying attention to that, but
The most interesting theory I saw, and I don't have any way of validating it, was I don't have any way of validating that was the catalyst, but I think it was Kevin Malone said that Friday was T plus 35 on GameStop earnings, which was March 26th. I'll let you guys count the calendar. I've seen so many people talk about T plus 35 over the last 35 years. I stopped paying attention to that because I don't think any of them have been correct. But if that is correct, that's an interesting theory, and we'll see what happens on Monday. The options chain's also getting whipsawed on GameStop, and they have high short interest. So it really is anybody's game on Monday. It'll be interesting to watch next week. I'm going to see if I can make my chat a little bit bigger here. Gia Fam, good evening to you. Jedi Master, good evening. Dink, what's up? Michael Anthony, Anya, hello. Jeffrey Cardoza, good evening. Anya said she sold at 12.22. I saw you in the Discord, Anya. Sold right before that run up. I'm
nice
sorry
job,
you
Anya.
I'm sorry you didn't get to capture the complete run up, but as we say, nobody ever cried taking a profit.
That's right. A
The
win's
main
a
ones,
win, baby. Let's go.
the main ones we hear crying are the ones that held too long and held it all the way down. And I'd like to provide some additional perspective to what you're hearing out there. And I know mediocre is the same way, to get you guys thinking about taking profits when it makes sense to you. And for sure, what we don't want to do is hold stuff while it's just melting down. If we love a stock, then we try and identify when it's safe to buy in, depending on what's going on with the stock or what's going on with the chart or what's going on with the market or a combination of all of those things. This mindless, I'm just going to buy one share every day, no matter what. All right, that's one way to trade. But I'd prefer to try and execute the best possible entry, and then go a little bit heavier. And those that are in my Discord kind of know my style, because I talk about my trades in there. If I have low to medium conviction, or I'm just starting to build a position, I'm not going to shoot my whole wad on day one. I'll take an entry, and then I'll watch it for a day. And if it goes down, I'll take a little bit bigger entry. But it's got to first be at the point where I identified for myself as the mostly risk-free entry. And then I'll step into it. If it starts going up, if it's still in my zone of safe entry, I'll keep buying. If it goes down, I'll buy a little more. But it's not a mindless entry, if that makes sense. I'm looking at the chart. I'm looking at the financials. I'm looking at the market. All that melange together to decide what is the right entry.
So, Tony, Rolf asked me a question. He's doing a poll in the Discord.
All right. Should we do a poll in my live stream too?
Yeah, might as well, right? Let's
What's
ask
the poll?
everybody.
What's the poll? Let's set it up.
He wants to know what people think if next Friday's close, the Friday right after earnings, if it closes over $3.30 or below.
Will AMC close this coming Friday over or under $3?
$3.30.
$3.30. All right. Give me a second, guys, and we'll get the poll up there. Over or under $3.30.
We're gonna get
why 3.30, Rolf? What is that your options plus? Is that your strike price plus options premium?
He wants to check sentiment on what people think.
Is he trying to decide his option play for next week?
Nah, I think he's already got one, to be honest.
All right, the poll is up. Give us your thoughts.
He said because that's the current price.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me pull up the AMC chart. Let's shift this conversation over to AMC for a second. Earnings is on Wednesday, May 8th. It is currently trading at 330. Okay. And let's zoom out a little bit here. We had the dip to 238. What Mediocre often calls the dip before the rip. I'm just kidding. He doesn't call it that. just trying to make him laugh. We had this dip on April 16th to 330. We ran up and 238. Sorry, we ran up. And then why did we come down on Monday? I forgot. Why do we have this fall on Monday, Mediocre?
Oh, because we had the earnings come out
Oh,
early.
yeah. We had the earnings pre-release on Friday.
Yeah, we released earnings.
After hours. And then we got the market reaction for 2 days. We bottomed out at 289 this week and then ran up. So, all right. So that's our recap of what happened last week. We had earnings pre-announcement from AMC on Friday after hours. We got the initial market reaction. Everybody was running around hair on fire. Like, why is it going down? It was a beat. And I'm just going to recap to those of you who don't check in with me every day, my thoughts on that. And you don't have to agree. This is just my thought. And Mediocre, I'm curious your thoughts too. But it was a beat. It's going to beat expectations, but it's still negative earnings. And we still have the overhang of dilution. We're 40 million into $250 million. We don't know when he's going to be done. And we don't have any resolution yet on the debt restructuring. And on top of that, this year box office is expected to be flat-ish relative to last year, which means unless something changes, this year will be a net loss for the company for the year. So that's my 4 reasons why the market was like not as excited about the beat on bad news. I call it a beat on bad news. It's good to have a beat. I'm ecstatic about that. They blew away even my expectation for Q1, but it's still got a lot of cloudiness, haziness in the play, and it's still a loss. So
Yeah, there's a lot of skepticism still on, and
so
a loss is a loss. They're going to try and take advantage of the bad news. That's just how it works.
that's how they do. That's how they do. These people with money that are short in our freaking stock. So it's up to AMC to change the sentiment of the market, or it's up to Hollywood to deliver some movies that send us, into profitable territory. We got some interesting ones coming out starting next week into the end of June. I think Q2 is going to be not the best quarter we've ever had, but it's going to be certainly a lot better than Q1. I'm estimating domestic box office somewhere slightly over $2 billion, maybe 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. If we're super lucky, it just depends on how these movies perform the second half of May and June. And then we wait and see if we get any news from management about the debt restructuring. There's raging debate if it's going to happen the first half of this year. The more pragmatic people like May, Markets with May, says she's still saying it's too soon, Tony. They're probably not going to do it till the end of the year because of interest rates. She could be right. She could absolutely be right. My gut feeling is that they will do it in the first half of this year. But hey, I've been wrong before, Mediocre. You know that.
Yeah. Me too. I'm okay with it when I'm wrong. People make mistakes. I'm only human, Tony.
Oh, Sparky says we also need details on why the cash burn was 250 million. Excellent point. Sparky, my thoughts on that. I mean, it's really could only be 2 things, right? CapEx or debt. They either spent more on CapEx than we would normally anticipate. And they've already given guidance that CapEx for this year was going to be on level with last year, around 225 million. And I would expect that in a slow quarter like Q1, you'd ratchet down CapEx and you'd ratchet it up, in the better quarters, second half of the year, to end at about 225 million. But that could have been something that they spent it on. I don't think that's as likely. So I'm thinking maybe they spent some money paying off debt, but we're going to have to all find out together on Wednesday.
It's going to be an interesting day.
Yeah. Yeah, but thank you for the reminder on that. That is a point that I failed to bring up. In light of the better than expected revenue and better than expected earnings, we should not have seen the cash burn be as high as it was, 260 million or whatever it was. So they did something. They did spend it on something. What was it? The other thing that I'll just throw out there that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but I talked about it with you guys at the end of March. AMC did have a vendor dispute settlement where they gained $37 million. Not a lawsuit that I'm aware of. They called it a vendor dispute settlement, and the company was paid, I think, about $37 million. That's going to show up in the Q1 numbers. And maybe they just turned around and spent that to pay down some of the debt. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
I don't know.
Find out.
A lot of little things we got to figure out. Other things that happened this week with AMC, there was the Antara short swing lawsuit. Remember, some shareholders brought a derivative suit on behalf of the company to try and claw back some profits from Antara for short selling the stock prior to the conversion and then bringing in all those profits. And the settlement was approved by the judge last week at the end of the week. And AMC should be getting, I would presume in Q2, a payment in the amount of $3 to $3.3 million from that lawsuit settlement. So that is different than the vendor dispute for $37 million.
Pay down the debt, Tony. Keep the lenders happy, buddy.
Blazin in the house. Oh, there he is. He says he made a little AMGN recently. Made a little on AMGN with their earnings pop. Very nice. There was so much freaking happening in the market last week. What else? Carvana ran. I have not been a huge Carvana fan, but because I think it's been about a year since I looked at their financials. Good freaking Lord, man. They just keep on improving. Now, please don't misunderstand this. I'm not saying go out and buy Carvana. I'm just commenting on the damn chart. It's up 4,000% in the last year from the low. Unfreaking believable. It was down here in the $3 range when? December of 2022. $3 up to 125 or so, 130. They were at serious bankruptcy risk. That's why it got trashed. And management has been working to improve the numbers. Now, before you rush out and buy Carvana right now, thinking you're going to enjoy a continued push up or a short squeeze, I would say go look at the insider sales. I think there were some in the last week. Look at the financials. Look at the debt. I'm not super excited about buying Carvana after this massive run up, unless I spent half a day going through all of their last 3 or 4 10Qs, at least the most recent one. So I'm only commenting on the fantastic opportunities that are out there. I see other YouTubers for the last year that have been telling you guys avoid Carvana, they're going bankrupt. I don't know. When you see their financial statements improving and the price going up, maybe you ought to pivot your thinking a little bit. Maybe you might be wrong. Maybe you might be missing out on a 4,000% gainer because you want to blame private equity.
I mean, I was scared of Carvana. I won't lie.
I
And
was
I'll
too. That's
tell
why
you
I
why.
didn't buy it. But if I had been paying attention, and I just wasn't, if I had been paying attention and looking at the quarterly,
Yeah,
I
it
haven't talked
wasn't
about
either.
Carvana. There's
Yeah, I
other
never looked
channels
at it.
that talk about it every month and tell you how awful it is while their financials are improving and the price is going up. That is just bad DD, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like the overall the car market was in terrible shape overall, and I was surprised, especially the used car market was what was bad. But I
I still
I
hear
was
it's bad. I mean, what the heck are these guys doing? What
I
have they?
don't know, Tony.
You know what they're doing? I listened to the YouTuber that hates them. He said they're marking up their cars and they're making fat, obscene profit margins. Great. That's why the stock's going up. He wants to hate on them for that. That's what you should do if you're able to do it. But
I before they were concerned they weren't going to be able to get the money for the cars they had. That was part of the problem.
yeah, more power to them if they're able to make some fat profit margins. But now that you've had this massive run up, you should be a lot more worried. Now is the time to be worried, I think.
Yeah. You know what? We should look into it a little bit into the financials, Tony.
It might be an interesting video, but I'm afraid if I looked into it now, the risk versus reward, the risk has gone up as the price has gone up, and the reward's probably been flattened. But yeah, I mean, mediocre. It's worth a look to see what is their sentiment going forward. I think that they published bullish sentiment. So yeah, maybe we'll take a look.
Yeah.
Blazin says, please do a video on Intel. Okay. Yes. That's been on my list. I've been trying to stay up to speed on the EV companies, and I said the next thing I was going to talk about was all of the semiconductors because I need another industry to start covering, but I can't ever freaking catch up, Blazin. I spend all day here chatting with you guys and trading, and then I try and get some videos in and some live streams, and I can't even keep up with the stocks that I'm covering. But I do want to get into that. And I see people asking about Fisker. A lot of the EV companies we've been covering are going to go by the wayside. They're going to go bye-bye. Fisker is not in great shape. And I think they're trying to sell off their company. So we'll see. It's unfortunate. But, like I said a year or two ago, 80% of the companies look left, look right. Those two guys aren't going to be here in a couple of years. And Fisker won't be the last one. Mullen will probably be the next one unless they got some surprise for me that I don't know about. I'm anxiously awaiting their earnings. And by the way, speaking of anxiously awaiting earnings, Highcroft's coming up any day now. 5-6 is what it's saying here. That is Monday. I'm not expecting, Highcroft's not mining, so really what I'll be looking for in their earnings call on Highcroft is guidance. When are we going to get the pre-feasibility plan? When are we going to know if Highcroft is going to become a viable mine? It will be, guys, probably several hundred pages, this pre-feasibility study. It will have all the economics of the mine at various metals prices, the internal rate of return. When it'll have all the construction, all the permits, all the timelines. When we have all of that, then we'll know if Highcroft is going to be a play or not. So I'm anxiously awaiting to hear what the news is on that. If Ms. Garrett has any updates on the pre-feasibility study, And I do not have a position in Highcroft while
What's
I'm
the
waiting
chart
on
look
that.
like, Tony?
Huh?
What's the chart look like?
The chart's been following the metals prices.
Well, that's a plus for the company then.
Yeah. It's been trending down, but over the past couple weeks, as gold and silver have gone up, the price went up, and it's been slightly negative trending for the past couple weeks. But nice push up with metals prices.
Yeah. It's
They
not
do have
terrible. You smack right back in the
they've
next
got a lot
time.
of ore in the ground, right? So that is almost by default increases the potential value of the play. But ultimately, we got to hear the plan to get the metal out of the ground. And can they
I
do it
agree.
economically? The higher gold and silver go, the more likely they can economically get it out of the ground. So that's good. We'll take it. As an AMC investor, I'd like to see them do something with this. But for me, the outcome is still uncertain. The higher gold and silver go, the longer they can stay high, the more likely Highcroft could be a success. So we'll see.
Tony, there's a big bear in your chat.
A big bear, Dan the man. Hello, Governor. What's up, Dan?
He's got
Let's,
a Dan's got a furry back. I seen it.
we don't like that guy. We don't like him so much. How you doing, Dan? Thank you for joining us. What time is it over there? It's like 8, 9. It's like 2:49 in the morning over there in the UK, Dan.
Do you sleep?
Do you ever sleep? Do bears even sleep, Dan?
Yeah. He's probably out there looking for more stocks to attack at night because he's hungry.
Michael Anthony says Neo, GM, Ford, and Lee Auto all going to sell off, which even KHC, I don't know KHC, was down, and Monday market should be down. Oh, Kraft. Okay. Yeah, the main one that I'm focusing on right now in the EV sector, to be honest, is Tesla. Golly, man, the hits just keep on coming. And I don't necessarily mean in a good way. I heard, you guys probably heard that they're not on top of the layoffs that they did on my last my last Tesla update a few days ago. Now I hear that they're laying off their supercharger staff, cutting back on all their nationwide supercharger rollout. Anya, is that the news that you were asking me? What should you do with Tesla? I need to spend tomorrow getting up to speed and do another Tesla update video, but I did not buy at 138 because I was thinking with the first bad news that we had that we could see 100. This is my Fibonacci chart on Tesla of where I'd like. This was my last buy-in back in 2023, sold in the run up, and I've been waiting a year and a half to buy back in. In retrospect, this gives me some comfort that there is good support at this 78% retracement where we bounce back up. Now we're on the downtrend again. I might start buying here next time. I was just thinking it would crater to 100, but it didn't. So I might take a little bite, gingerly, at the 78% retracement if we come back down. Massive. I saw some Tesla options traders just killing it on these gap ups. So freaking fantastic if you got the balls to do that.
It's a lot of money, man.
I know. It's a lot of money. I've done a little bit of Tesla options trading, but not here recently. And not super successfully. Not super successfully mediocre.
Yeah, it moves too much, man. That's scary.
It can hurt you real quick.
Yeah.
If you guess wrong. Anya says Tesla is delaying their supercharger thingy. Yes, exactly, Anya. Musk made the trip to China to raise the price of Tesla. Yeah, I need to catch up on all that news. I saw that he was in China, and China is going pedal to the metal, so to speak, on EVs too. Mark says we have updated our future vehicle lineup to accelerate the launch of the new models ahead of our previously communicated. Yeah, the cheaper model, right? They said sometime next year, right? And the robo-taxi supposed to be some news in August. So a lot of moving parts in Tesla. Hard for me to guess what's going to happen, and I don't like gambling. I'd prefer that it just be horrible news, and it tanks, and I get a really cheap entry. Then he fixes it. That'd make me feel a lot better. But we'll see. Maybe I'll try some swing trading. AMC. Let's talk about last week, mediocre.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right.
You gonna tell them what happened to you?
Yeah, I'm going to tell them what happened to me, mediocre. All the busybodies want to know, what is Tony doing? Let's go through it. As we talked about at the beginning of this year, 2024 for me is a year of volatility trading only for AMC because the box office is flat. I'd like to be in the stock ahead of any good news, but lacking any good news, I'm going to, just like I'm doing with GameStop, try and buy the lows and sell the highs. And I've already done that. I've already been in and out of the stock twice since the reverse split. The first one, we made about a 40% run up. After that drop, after the reverse split, I bought in, sold right before the earnings and made about 40%. Waited for the drop, bought back in. And then the second time I had to get out, I think, was just a couple weeks ago when I told you guys that well, at least in the Discord, I told you that I think they're going to dilute. When was that, mediocre? March 27th, right?
Yeah, they did the
And
next day.
so I sold that day. I wish I would have made a video, but I just didn't want to deal with all the
I wanted you to be
negativity.
wrong.
I didn't want to deal with the negativity if I was wrong. So I sold. I notified people in the Discord. I notified everybody that I talked to. I said, I might be crazy, but I think they're going to dilute because I'm doing cash burn analysis and this doesn't look good. And I sold. And then sure enough, after hours, we get the dilution notice. So
I was not happy that day.
I know you weren't, but I was able to preserve my capital
I
and
know.
buy back in below $3. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been selling covered calls on that to lower. I got in more than half of my position selling cash secured puts. So I was already making money. I got an entry at 3. I bought some more shares below 3. Sold covered calls all along for the last 2 weeks, lowering my cost basis, keeping it below $3. And this week I decided to get a little, what would you call it, mediocre?
I don't know. I mean,
A little too cocky.
yeah, maybe that. I wasn't playing around with you guys.
So we all discuss over the weekend and into Mondays what our plan is, and we all have a general sense of what we're going to do, but not everybody does the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Some don't sell covered calls. They're just, their cost basis is too high and they're too nervous, and so that's fine. Again, we don't give instructions. We're just discussing what we're doing, and everybody, has to look at their own cost basis, their own risk tolerance, their own familiarity with trading options. For a lot of people, it's just not something you should mess with because you're probably going to lose money if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But for me, I was comfortably sitting with a cost basis well below $3. And on this downtick Monday, well, before I say what I did, some people that were selling calls sold them at $4.
Mm-hmm.
Some sold them at $3.50.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to fucking go for the gusto, mediocre. I'm going to get the fattest fucking premium that I can for the week. And
You got it.
I got it. I got fat fucking premium selling $3 covered calls on my entire position. I was mitigating my risk last week. I sold calls only on half my position because what if it ran up? I wanted to. Anyways, this week I was like, I'm going for the gusto, selling them on my entire position. So that put my break even at about 320, break even for the options trade. Since my cost basis for my position was well under $3, anything over that is profit, right? But for that options trade, I wanted it to close right under $3. And if it closed anywhere between 3 and 320, the options trade was still a good play, but it closed at 330. So what does that mean? That means I left 10 cents on the table, right? Mediocre.
Absolutely.
I left 10 cents on the table. Like if my shares will get called away. I lost all my shares on Friday at $3, but I made 20 cents extra a share. So I got out of my position essentially at 320. Left 10 cents on the table because it's at 330. What will I do Monday? I don't know yet. I could buy back in Monday. But I also have to think about, and if I buy back in at 330, that's not a big deal. This is what I want to teach you guys, the empowerment of having the freedom to, hey, guess what? I can just buy back in the next day. It's not a big fucking deal. I made a profit. I made a decent profit in 2 weeks.
Want to talk about what you could do?
It's locked the F in. What, mediocre?
Want to talk about what you could do for Monday?
What could I? Yes. We've got to think about earnings. We've got to think about what it's going to do. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? But hit us with a couple possible strategies that you could do, mediocre, that we've talked about over the last couple days. If you're in the position like me where you're covered calls or get exercise, you got out of your trade profitably, but now you're all in cash on that position.
You could turn around and sell a $3 put.
I like it. I like it. Why would you do that?
Because you're going to collect a massive amount of premium because of where the stock price is. I'm not sure what it is right now. Here, I'll tell you. Hang on. I'll look real quick. Just so I can give you actual numbers. All right. So the $3 put's paying 14 cents right now. We don't know what it's going to open up at Monday, but it's at 14 cents. So that's 14 cents profit. We don't know if it's going to go into money or not. So that's your problem. So what if it never goes back below $3 and you don't get the shares at $3? But if
you've tied up ostensibly all of your cash because that's going to be held as collateral for those secured puts.
Yep.
So that's the upside is you get the premium right away. The downside is all the cash that you are going to use if you get exercised, if it drops below $3, the broker is going to hold that cash as collateral until Friday. So plus minus. What's another strategy?
So option 2 would be to sell the 350 put, which could get you the shares, and that's in the money, and that's paying 44 cents premium. Of course, the market's not open, but
And then if there's bad news on Wednesday, well, not bad news, but if it doesn't react well to whatever's said on Wednesday and it drops to $3, I'm going to be buying at 350, but I made 44 cents in premium. So I'm basically buying it like
you're even, baby.
Huh?
You're even. Because you sold for what, 312?
320 essentially.
320. Okay, so that's 20. That's 64 cents premium. So you're
And
still under $3.
gotcha. All
You're
right. And then the third option that we discussed obviously is just roll the dice, keep your cash liquid, and try and buy some back in on a dip.
But Rolf said anytime we want to do a show, just on options, he'd be willing to do it too.
All right.
With us.
I need to
Just so you
freaking get that first training video out, the one we did 3 weeks ago now.
know.
And then we'll do part 2, Rolf. Yeah, the third option is just keep your cash liquid and see what the price does. If it starts running Wednesday after hours, then, join the fun. And if it tanks, drops down to 280, just buy it at 280. 230, 240. I mean, I really don't know right now, Mediocre, what I'm going to do. What would you guys do? Who's my other frequent options traders? If it was not a earnings week, absolutely I would sell cash secured puts without hesitation. And that would be my bullish strategy because I want to buy back in, but I want to collect money to buy back in. This whole thing, the fact that it's a earnings week, has me hesitating if I want to do that. Rolf, what do you think?
I know what he thinks. Rolf, can I give away your? I shouldn't say anything. He has something that him and I were talking about. Well, I'll just say this.
Is it a super secret strategy?
No, it's not a secret. It's not a secret. It really ain't. He just doesn't want to affect a part of his poll. So the poll was based
All right,
on.
let's do the poll results then real quick. Will AMC close this coming Friday over or under 330? 60% of people say it will close over $3.30.
It'll close over 330.
60% say over 330.
All right. So Ralph says, sell puts, baby, and go ahead. It's not a secret. All right. So here's what Rolf and I were talking about. So Tony doesn't have no shares, but he's got cash, right? So what he could do is sell the $4 put for, I think it's 88 cents. I got it right here for 65 cents, but at the moment, but we think it's going to be around 88 cents. He was doing some math equation, and the reason why you would do that is because you'll buy the shares at $4, but your dollar cost average is really $3.12,
Right.
something like that. And that protects you for the upside and the downside because it gets you in low enough back to where you should be.
Unless
This is the power of options trading if you understand what's going on. But some people shouldn't do this if they don't know what they're doing.
unless it drops at 238 again.
Unless that happens, Tony. There's always that too. You don't know. We don't know yet.
In which case I'd be, screaming, yelling at my monitor. That is the danger and the risk of doing options, guys. That's why you shouldn't do it if you don't know what you're doing. You got to understand all of the risks. You got to be thinking about all this stuff.
So, yeah. So I was lucky. I didn't lose my shares this week.
You wisely sold what, 350s?
I sold half at 350 and half at 4 just in case because I wasn't certain.
Now, how did that happen? Like, you're typically the much more degenerate gambler. I'm the more risk-free trader. How did we swap places last week?
It was because of where the stock was trading for me. And, I thought it had if they didn't release the news and that come down like that about the preliminary earnings, you know what I mean? If that didn't happen, we probably would have kept going up. But because that happened, it put a damper on the stock price. And for me, I was just like, I don't know. I didn't want to risk it. So
I,
I had
and
shares that I had bought in at like $2.50 that I sold at 350 because I didn't care. If it would have went in 350, I wouldn't have cared. But
and
all the ones I have with that higher dollar cost average, I held on to.
and I thought that negative sentiment would last the entire week. That was kind of how I was thinking. Like, I think I'm safe selling the $3 calls. I'll
Yeah,
bring in a lot more money on premium. And if that negative sentiment holds the price under $3 for the entire week, then I'm probably fine. But you know what I didn't count on, mediocre? GameStop pushing up 70%.
I don't get it, man. Whatever.
And I think that AMC got a little sweet, helping hand with GameStop running. I think that certainly helped our price push up those extra few pennies on Thursday and Friday.
I'm kind of a smart ass. I don't know if the audience knows this or not, but I'm a stone crusher in the Discord. Like I will razz people. I was razzing Tony a little bit because it was overtime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially because I asked you last time we did a live stream. I said, "Mediocre, have you ever lost your shares on AMC?" Because I
yeah,
never
I
have.
think I only have once. I never really did.
Now I have once. But you know what? You know what, mediocre? I knew the risk when I went into it, and I was okay. If I got out at 320, that was going to be fine with me. That's the whole freaking like letting the emotions
Get
of the
rid of the
play
emotions.
go. Let
Doesn't
the
matter.
emotions go. I had no fear this week of a massive run up.
Yeah,
Whether it closed at $3 or $3.50 this week was irrelevant to me.
exactly. That's what I want people to see, right? I mean, it is whatever they're going to decide for themselves, right? But if you look back, how many run-ups have we actually had, Tony, since this whole debacle
About
started?
one per year on average. I mean, I can pull up the chart.
No, you don't have to pull up the chart. I know it's not that many. That's why I brought it up.
Whoops.
I just want people to, kind of
It's
understand
mostly
what we're
been
talking about.
it's mostly been run downs, mediocre.
I know. I know. And I'm not trying to make fun of the stock. I'm not doing that at
But
all,
we're
right?
just like that. It's gallows humor in here. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is, so we trade it the way it is. That's just being realist.
Some of us are pissed off that we didn't cash out at $72 and we're not going to let it go until we get our MOAS back, right, Tony?
Well, I don't need to get a MOAS back. I cashed out on options before YouTube. I
Yeah.
keep on saying that because there's going to be people saying, "Oh, I hear them all the time." Mediocre. Tony's pumping. He's trying to pump AMC so he can sell. As he pushes the price up, guys.
We don't expect it to go anywhere.
No, this stock has only traded down since I've been on YouTube. You realize that, right? If I'm a pumper, I've been a horrible one, first of all, because the stock has only gone down. I look at it this way. I'm providing coverage on a stock, which I'm invested in, that I'd like to see the company succeed, but they got a lot of headwinds against them, which had a very high short interest in 2021, and then things changed. And they started running low on cash. So if I'm a pumper, I'm a horrible one because the stock has only gone down. There have been a few little bubbles based on what we don't know. I'm looking mediocre here. April 2022, August
Yeah,
2022.
I'm not a pumper at all. I just, I'm going to create my own MOAS by trading the
There
stock,
you go. That's
whether
what we're
you like
talking
it or
about.
not. That's exactly what we're talking about, Tony.
God dang, this chart looks horrible, mediocre.
I know it
I
does.
mean, it's because I have it on logarithmic. Well, it's like we're below like 2016. Oh yeah. Well, I think we kind of knew that, but it's because I have it on log. It looks even worse. At any rate, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, how many pumps have we had? How many moves up? Yeah, on average, maybe one a year. any moves of size. And the most recent one was due to that. Remember that news about the APE and AMC settlement where the news came out and people got it wrong for a few minutes,
Yeah.
and AMC ran up. I don't even count that. I don't even count.
I took advantage of that thanks to you, by the way.
I
But
know, you lucky son
the
of a
thing
bitch.
is with people, I just want people to understand. Like, I'm not here to bash in the stock, right? But if you look at the overall community, there's so much drama in the community now. It's hard to even create a buying thing. I think, in my opinion, that's kind of what I noticed. So I try to avoid the conflict because it's just not worth it. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like back then, everybody was a cohesive group. It's not like that, and
Oh, don't I know
doesn't
it, mediocre.
it
Don't
doesn't
I
help
know it.
us. So it makes it easier for me to do what I have to do now because we can't even have a open conversation about anything anymore.
Well, we are having open conversations, but nobody likes it.
Yeah, that's true. We are. We absolutely are.
Is Gus being truthful here, or is he pulling our leg? He says, I didn't sell at 26, been playing catch up ever since. I thought Gus was ahead on this play now.
No, he is ahead now. He's just saying that since $26 he was underwater. He only just got caught up even last week.
And that's the thing that I want to reiterate. We have people catching up on this play. If they're carefully listening to what we're doing or, asking questions, you can catch up. It's the sitting like a deer in the headlights, just buy and hold and do nothing. If you're not actively taking charge of this, you're not going to catch up without a miracle. Maybe the miracle will happen, but we're not waiting for that. We're taking charge of our trading like we would with any other stock in our portfolio. Anya said her husband wants to know why you're not watching hockey right now, mediocre.
Anya, you tell Eric I would love to watch hockey right now, but I'm live with Tony.
There was a MMA fight being shown at AMC tonight too, and I was like, live stream or MMA? And I opted to do a live stream because I got a $3,500 vet bill coming up, mediocre. Got to get those watch hours in. And I might start doing pre-market lives for the rest of this month too, by the way, guys, if anybody's interested in that. Do we have anybody else besides me waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning?
I can't do it no more, man. I can't.
I do it. I'm usually here, but I'm not live streaming because I don't usually feel like I'm at my best at 4 or 5 in the morning.
I mean, I got to be honest. When we were going through that whole ape conversion, reverse split crap, like I was up, I was paying attention, and I was not messing around. That shit made me nervous. I won't lie. But even though we knew we were on the right track, it still makes you know.
Dink says he's up. Carl's up. Dan Spencer's up. I might try it this week. I might try it and see how many people show up. You never know. We'll just call it pre-market. What do we call it? Pre-market trading, pre-market watch. Help me come
Rolf
up with
says he's up, but he stays in bed.
Who? Gus?
Rolf.
Oh, Rolf. Okay.
I sometimes get up, but some of these guys try to keep me up late.
I know. Broke Ape says he'll be there. All right. Maybe I'll start doing that on Monday, especially with GameStop. I think it could be a very interesting week to watch pre-market, at least on Monday. Maybe we'll do it. The Breakfast Club, Dan. I love it.
I love it.
The Breakfast Club.
All right, I'm gonna have to get up. What's for breakfast? Are you cooking?
Donuts, mediocre. Donut holes from GameStop or donuts from our favorite donut shop.
AMC donut holes.
Morning markets with TD. Debbie says she's up for it. All right. I'm gonna do my best. Like I said, I really don't have any choice. Like getting hit with a huge veterinary bill out of the blue, I'm either gonna have to make it up from trading or make it up from doing some more work. Ah, boy.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Tony. I'll definitely come in. I'll set an alarm. I'll come in, and if I fall asleep, just don't wake me up. I'll just leave it streaming.
Just put your mic on push. Put your mic on push to talk, and don't fall asleep on the hotkey.
That's right.
Michael says, "I think Jimmy play is over by a chart." I just put out my video on GameStop, Michael, right before this live stream, and I don't want to be overly negative. When I see something run up that much, my tendency, my natural logical thought is at some point it's going to top out and get shorted back down. But the short interest is already pretty high on GameStop. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call. Let's just say, Michael, that I will make money on it whichever way it goes on Monday. And I'll let you read between the lines. Anya says, I'd rather buy IMAX, Hershey, and SoFi. Oh, speaking of Hershey, and let's move on to some other tickers. I see y'all been putting a few in the chat. Hershey, I did buy Hershey, and at 183.56 when I put out my video to you guys. A blue chip company. Nobody watches these videos. I don't know why. A very solid company going through a little bit of hard times with the price of cocoa. I got in at 183.56 on April 15th. It's currently now at 197. And, unless something bad happens, the market tanks or the economy tanks, obviously it could go down, but I'd like to hold Hershey for this nice ride back up into the 200s again. So we'll see.
Hershey got an option, Shane?
Does it have an option, Shane? Yes, it does. I don't have enough yet. It's $183, so I didn't buy 100 shares. Mediocre.
Let me see. Let me do some math real quick.
The other one Anya talked about was IMAX. I did buy some IMAX on their spanking they got last week, which I don't understand why they got spanked. They had earnings on the 25th, fairly bullish. Analyst price target on IMAX, I think, is around $22. And after that earnings, they got hammered on the 29th. So I bought on this big red candle. I bought some IMAX. I know I've said that I don't want to buy more movie companies because I already own AMC, and I want to spread out my risk across different market segments. But this was just too juicy of a dip on a good quarter for me to pass on. So I grabbed me a little IMAX, and it had 3 green days after that. We'll see. I'll hold it. I'll hold it for this year, or I'll hold it up into the 21 range. If it does good this year, next year is going to be even better. So we'll take it day by day, week by week, quarter by quarter. I don't own anywhere near. Look, let's be honest. $16 to 22. It's a relatively safe play, but the reward is also relatively muted relative to the gains that I could make on AMC. My AMC position has been fairly large. But the expected reward, if you can manage that risk, is outsized on a speculative play like AMC. That's why I play it. but you have to manage the damn risk. So it requires a lot of work. IMAX, I'm not going to have to worry about. I could go to sleep at night and not worry about IMAX by the end of this year or by the end of 2025. AMC, I've got to be paying attention to it every damn day. All right. VRO's Trades. What's up, amigo? He says, check out AMST.
Yeah, how often we checking on AMC, Tony? Tell them.
All day, every freaking day. Because we have a significant amount, others more than me, a significant amount at risk, and the risk is high. So when we're managing that much risk on that amount of money, we want to pay very close attention. The blue chip plays that I have, they're just like buy, sleep, forget, check back in once a week, set an alert for your price target. Don't worry about it. That's the beauty of the blue chip plays. But the risky ones, the speculative ones, the non-profitable ones, you got to spend a lot of time on them. What is AMST? Amosite. I see total revenues falling. Net income has been holding steady. Tell me what this company does. I'm curious. Balance sheet, annual. Total assets 6.35 million, down from 12.4 million in 2021. No goodwill, total liabilities also coming down. Total debt, no debt. Not a horrible balance sheet. Software for nurses. Thank you, Michael. Doesn't make money, he says. Go back to the income statement. Yeah, negative, all negatives on net income. So yeah, I'd need to spend a lot of time convincing myself by reading through the 10 Qs and management's outlook why I need to buy another company that's not making money.
You don't want to just dive right in, Tony?
I don't want to dive right in, no. I mean, nurses are hot. Well, some of them, not all of them in Texas, but I feel comfortable trading AMC even though it's losing money mediocre because we know so damn much about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can almost, it's almost as if I can predict what's going to happen mediocre.
That's the thing is, for me, I don't like to jump into something I have known nothing about, right? But with AMC, we know, we watch the box office, we watch the balance sheet, we're looking at the financials, we're doing all of that to
You know,
keep an eye on everything
the
that's going on.
the beauty about something like AMC, relative to something like a GameStop or a lot of other plays mediocre, is we know the movie slate for the year. We know the movie slate for the year. We know roughly what those movies are going to bring in. We have a spreadsheet where we can predict with almost pinpoint accuracy what their earnings is going to be for every quarter for the rest of this year.
Which
And
makes it safer for us because we have that information.
Safer, right? There's not a lot of other companies where I can say I'm pretty damn sure I know what they're going to make over the next year. So even though it's a dangerous play, a risky play, we can minimize a lot of that risk by using the information that's out there and using our intelligence to model what's going to happen.
Now that we're back on this topic, and to not hold the stock, not to be okay. So what I was going to say earlier about people, some people want to think that the MOAS is still possible. Whatever. If you believe that, you believe that. I'm not getting wrapped up in that anymore. But I will say this about long-term capital gains. People will say, "Oh, I'm not. I can't do the option strategy in case I get exercised on because I have long-term capital gains or whatever
You mean
BS."
long-term capital losses?
Yeah, well said, Tony. But that's what they say. That's what they say. I don't get it. You're not going to gain anything unless you make moves, in my opinion. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay with that if I am wrong. I have no problem being wrong. It's just not part of me to buy and hold anymore. I don't. I did it for a while. I'm good. I'm not doing it no
Anya,
more.
Anya says Tony has made me into a bottom feeder. We love that word in my Discord. We will be very, very patient on a play to try and get the lowest possible entry. And Anya apparently beat me on my entry on Hershey. Good job, Anya. She got in at 183.26. What did I get in on it? 183.56. Anya beat me by 30 cents. Booyah.
So Frankie said he went and seen the Fall Guy.
Yeah, what'd you think, Frankie?
Well, I thought him and I were supposed to go see a movie.
And tell me, Frankie, how full was the theater? I've been seeing reports that Fall Guy was expected to do around 40 million this weekend, which is pretty good. I was a little bit concerned when I went to the early screening because my theater wasn't even 25% full. And normally if I go to an early screening, it's full. Full. I was like, shit. 25%.
I'm laughing at Gus. I'm sorry. I can't. He's making me laugh.
Maple Blue says, Tony, I heard your cover call was exercise at 3. Also, some of mine. Are you going to buy back in before earnings? I don't know, Maple. We were just talking about that maybe mediocre 30 minutes ago. We went through three choices, selling $3 cash secured puts, selling $3.50 or $4 cash secured puts, or just hanging on to the cash and seeing if it tanks, or giving you the flexibility to if there's some good news to participate in any upward momentum. See, if I sell cash secured puts, then my cash is locked in. Maybe I could do it with half the cash that I allocate to this play. Maybe I could do it with half the cash and then keep half free to freewheel if something happens. What do you think about that, Mediocre or Rolf? Do
I
a
mean,
50-50 strategy.
what does Adam Aaron say? He says cash is king, doesn't he? I like to swing trade. So a lot of people out there, um, I like to swing trade stocks. I like to day trade it, swing trade it, whatever kind of trade I can make. I usually do that quite a bit. That's what I was doing a lot of um, before, and then but lately I just been doing, because we're at the bottom so much. I don't want to get caught out of position, so I'm careful what I do. It's just I try to think logically on what my plays are and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's what I think about it. I think keeping cash is always good if you want, but you could catch a run, exit, buy back in. You're already out anyways. Make money, buy back in when you feel like you didn't lose anything or you didn't leave nothing on the table. However you look at it, like I look at things differently. I take you guys. I got a notebook right here. See this notebook? I take notes all the time.
That's a good strategy, Mediocre. Take notes. Michael says, have you looked at Six, which is Six Flags? I haven't looked at it in depth, Michael. I have from time to time kept pace with the news, not recently. And I know that, there was a time, and you can see it in the chart here, 2020, where a lot of these parks were struggling. And Six Flags specifically, I think, has been struggling with figuring out their pricing model. As I recall, I only read about them once or twice a year, so it's been a long time. $70 down to $8 in the pandemic, back up to $51, then back down to $17, and now we're just hovering around $24. I don't know. Haven't looked at them recently. Is there something you want to tell us? Like, are you bullish on their next couple of years? I'm not opposed to it. If management is guiding that things are going to change. But from what I recall, a lot of them were just struggling. These entertainment parks. I used to be, much like GameStop being a card-carrying member, I used to be a Six Flags season pass member for a while there. We used to go a lot.
Tony, Gus says if he loses 1 cent next week, he's blaming us.
What's his freaking strategy?
I don't know. Gus, it's Gus.
Gus, what's your strategy?
He's just being a smart ass.
I know.
His strategy right now is drinking moonshine.
All right. I'm drinking tequila tonight, and I'm only on my first cup. It's only 9:30, so we got a shot of putting me under the table since it's still early, but I'm waiting for my wife to get home. She went to a yoga class, and she's at the grocery store now buying something for her rabbits. And she went by the vet hospital, the 24-hour clinic, to go visit our dog. So she should be home soon, and I'll probably wrap up sometime after she gets home. She'll tell me 5 minutes, and I'll push it for an hour.
Oh, boy.
But, Michael says the CFO bought shares in Six Flags is big with young people. All right, I will check them out. Owning the Float says, who wants to show their P&L? I will if you will. That's a running joke in our Discord. Tony says, will you be covering Beyond Earnings Call Live? I'm not planning on it, Anya. I know that breaks your heart. What I have coming up to cover is, what do I have coming up next week? I think it's just AMC. I can't remember if Disney. We're going to cover Disney. We're going to cover AMC. And I don't think Highcroft is going to have an earnings call, but I will be putting out just a quarterly update video on Highcroft. I think they're releasing their earnings on Monday the 6th. I wanted to talk about movies real quick, though. Frank says, I liked the movie and I would go see it again, The Fall Guy. Excellent. I like to hear that. I am seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Wednesday at an early screening in IMAX at AMC. And I just want to ask you guys, those of you that are hanging out with us patiently tonight, thank you for being here. Do you think, all right, let's go full conspiracy. Mediocre, are you ready?
Let's go.
You ready for some tinfoil?
Let's go. Let me go grab it. You want to put tinfoil on my head?
Did did AMC conspire with the movie company to release Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on the day of AMC earnings? Is this a sign? Is this a signal, Mediocre?
Yes, it's gonna Adam's gonna pump it. in the earnings call. You watch.
I know you guys love this DD. Nowhere else are you going to get this. I'm pretty sure everybody on Twitter is talking about it. Mediocre.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping he talks about something else. I'm looking forward to something else, Tony, in the earnings call.
We need to hear some good news. I want to hear Adam, you guys, be as positive as the CEOs of Cinemark and IMAX were. I don't want to hear Adam and Sean. I don't want to hear no negative Nelly talk. You got me?
I want to hear what's going on with the debt restructuring.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear, Tony.
I want to hear survived and thrive and that we fucking survived.
That's right, baby. Let's go.
Tell us we're through the worst of it. And I know some of y'all want to hear no more dilution, right, Mediocre?
A lot of people want to hear that. I do, but I know he ain't done yet. He ain't even started selling these fucking things. What they doing?
40.
He said periodically, Tony. He meant it.
They surprised the hell out of me. I'll tell you what. We got that one wrong. We just threw out scenario 1 and scenario 2, and Adam and Sean said, "You know what? We're doing it our way, and we're doing it the patient way." Your whole theory, Tony, about wanting to get 250 million before earnings,
Yeah, I know.
wrong.
But you know what? I'm good with it, Tony.
Yeah,
good with
we're okay with
it.
that.
It helps me in my position. I'm good with it.
You know what helps us is just at least knowing what they're doing.
Thank you.
Every data point they
Right.
can give us helps us understand what they're doing. We're just winging it,
Exactly.
trying to figure out without news. And now we got 2 new data points, so that's helpful. Anya says my IMAX is up 4% in a few days. You did the IMAX trade too, Anya. Good job. I like it. I got me some IMAX also. Magnetic Resonance says he definitely planned it. I love it. Mike, owning the float. How you been doing, man?
What's up, owning the flow? How are you?
Gus says we're rolling with Adam all the way to the bank. Let's fucking go, Gus. Magnetic Resonance says dilute later, no more at 350. Not a good use of the shares at this point. I think Mediocre, we all would agree with that, right?
What's
we
that?
all don't want to see him dilute at low prices.
No, I would much rather him do it whenever the hell he wants when the stock price recovers. I'm good with that. And you know what's good about that? The shorts aren't going to know when he's doing it either.
Yeah,
and they can't take advantage.
And like we talked about this on Discord a lot. Like we expect every quarter from here on out, middle of May through the rest of the year, to get better and better.
Exactly.
So the news of the industry should shift towards more positive sentiment as we go through this year, barring any unforeseen circumstances. So that gives AMC the ability on good industry momentum to hopefully sell shares at better than 335, whatever they were selling them at. I'd much rather they sell them at 4 or 5, whatever they can get, than 335 or 235. Obviously, they didn't sell them down there, at least not on their average that they've sold them at so far. So bring on the good news, Hollywood. Go see some movies, guys. Everyone's wondering, why is Tony only doing movie reviews? Guys, we all have enough stock. Pretty much. I'm sure for most of you. You have enough. The number one way
you can appreciate that.
The number one way you can support the company is go see a movie, buy some popcorn. Revenue matters.
I'm actually going to go see a movie with my cousin Frankie.
Are you really?
I think so, yeah. He asked me, I said, yeah. I got to drive an hour, but it is what it is.
Are y'all going to see what? Planet of the Apes?
I forget. I think so.
Wear a monkey suit, mediocre. That'd be a great picture. Eric says he thinks that the current projection for Fall Guy is 28 million, not 40 million. Well, that's bad news, Eric. The article I read, I think was last night, where they were saying it could be as high as 40 million. 28 million, not so hot. And like I said, I was expecting I was expecting more people at the early screening, not very happy that there weren't as many. And maybe just like this current generation doesn't know about the Fall Guy. They're like, well, what is it? Why do I care about an 80s reboot, 1980s reboot? But it is a fun movie. The other one that I was laughing at, some of the reviews this weekend, mediocre. Have you heard of this movie called Tarot? The Tarot, about the tarot cards?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It hands down has the worst Rotten Tomato reviews that I've ever seen. The critics have given it a 5% approval rating. There was that one guy who liked the movie. I think I'm going to go see it this week just for fun. I already know it's going to be bad.
I just looked it up for you.
I'm going to go see it for the pizza. I'm going to do it for the pizza review because there's like
do it for
5
the pizza.
Yeah, there's like 5 pizzas, and I've tried 2 of them. Tried the Supreme, and I tried the Korean chicken barbecue. I don't even know how you say that, gochujang or whatever.
I don't know.
Both very good, by the way, but we still got to try the pepperoni, the vegetarian, and the cheese. Dink says, is it worse than Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? I think it's pretty much about worse than anything. It's apparently like a really bad Final Destination movie.
No, man. That was a good movie, though. No, the first one was Final Destination. That is.
The first one was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, the pizzas are 10 inches. They're about 1,300 to 1,400 calories, which is plenty enough to fill me up. Like if I have a pizza and a beer, forget about candy or popcorn or anything else. I know 10 inches doesn't sound like a lot, Dan. But when it comes to pizza, it's enough to fill you up. Unless you're a really hearty eater.
Yes, OTF this week, because of earnings, we're curious what people think.
Yeah, we did a poll owning the float, and we asked the audience a little while ago if we thought it would close above $3.30, the current price, on Friday. 60% think it will close above $3.30. Dan, yes, that's what she said. 10 inches doesn't sound like a lot, Dan. Mediocre looks like a Van Gogh painting. Wow, Anya. That's quite
Thank
a
you,
compliment.
Anya.
At least you didn't say Picasso. Jorge says short interest for AMC is around 18%. Yeah, speaking of short interest, I had been down rating it, Jorge, because I was thinking that the AMC was actively diluting the whole $250 million. Now we need to not downrate it so much, right? That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Tony. I'm glad you actually started talking about it because I also was doing the same thing, and they haven't been really actively diluting, so that has got to be accurate.
Yeah, the short interest is probably pretty accurate. OTF says 60% of people are wrong. It will not close above 330. What is your prediction, my friend? And what do you think about these people saying it's going to $1.50? I need to hear. I know OTF is not the biggest fan of AMC stock. There have been people getting wrecked buying puts on AMC. At least if they're holding until Friday, they've been getting wrecked.
I think the earnings call will be interesting.
He does say mediocre 150. No way. Yeah. It seems ridiculous, but I take screenshots of every time they post it, Mike, because I think it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny if we get a little run up to revisit some of these. I'm telling you, it's going to $1.50. They want to bankrupt the company.
You love doing that. Oh man!
I want to bankrupt the company.
That's why we just came out with pizzas to get us more revenue. And God, I don't get it, man. Like, how much more revenue do they need to try to? I don't get it. Like, they're trying to make more money.
Mediocre. I got the funniest comment this morning. A guy was very angry that they keep on coming up with new revenue streams. How dare they? How dare they, mediocre, come up with popcorn shipped to the house? How dare they come up with in-house candy? How dare they come up with donut holes and now pizza? How dare they talk about doing private label alcohol inside the theater to try and capture more margin? Think of all the wasted money, mediocre, that they spent developing these products. That was the gist of his comment.
I just want to know where our brewery is and our chocolate factory. And
I just got to sit back and wonder, what the heck are these people wanting this company to do? Just sit still and do nothing? Like, they only have two choices, really. Close down a bunch of theaters and get sued the bejesus out of them for breaking leases. Try and sell theaters to a market where nobody's buying. Sell leases. Or increase revenue, which requires a little bit of CapEx.
Because they can't do any of that, what do they do, Tony?
BK?
Before they do that, what do they do?
Dilute?
There you go.
Like, guys, you've heard the phrase, it costs money to make money, right? Yeah, they're spending a little bit developing these new product lines. That's what capital expenditures is.
I don't understand what
these are long-term investments that, if the industry grows, if box office grows, will pay off. Is it a gamble? Sure, it's a gamble. You're gambling in this play on box office growing. That is all you're doing. Even me, mediocre, you, we're all gambling on box office growing. There's only two ways out of this play. The company gets decimated because box office never grows, or it grows and they're going to be just fine. What do you think is likely to happen? That's your choice. Do you have a different thought? Anybody?
I just want people to realize it's quite simple. If they don't make any revenue, they have no choice but to dilute their shareholder, or it goes bankrupt and we all lose. I don't understand how people don't see that. I personally don't care what anybody does with their position, to be honest. I'm just saying, yeah.
I see a couple of comments here I'm going to read out, mediocre. Jorge says, I've been trading between 290 and 340. Easy money. We have some people that are in the Discord, a couple that are day trading it like that, Jorge. I have not been doing that. I've been the frequency of my trading. I'm not trying to swing trade AMC unless I'm forced to. But I would sell into if there was a massive pre-earnings run up, I'd probably take some of the gains off the table. I am trying to accumulate it at the cheapest price and lower my basis through selling options, and then wait for a good run up. But that is a strategy that sometimes requires that I hold it for 1, 2, 3 months. And I'm okay if I got to hold it longer than that, as long as I'm not losing. Magnetic Resonance says, we broke important technical levels with huge volume on Friday. I say we get a big pump this week, perhaps $5 to $7. That would be fantastic, especially for anybody that bought in below $3. Let me pull up the chart here.
I don't necessarily disagree with this guy either.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that huge candle there, mediocre. Yeah, and especially if you saw what happened to GameStop on Thursday and Friday, if that momentum continues, as my good friend Richie Lavoie says, AMC and GameStop are brothers in arms. I don't know if they are or not. I do think that there is a little bit of shine effect on one versus the other from time to time. Could be interesting. People get excited. People get excited when one's running, especially if one of the other one is relatively cheap.
I'll be right back, Tony.
Jorge says, I wish price would get back near to 286 again. You and me both, my friend, before a break to 370 and $4. You and me both. We can still hear you, mediocre. Oh, wait, maybe can y'all hear mediocre? I hear him in my earpiece, but I think it's from Discord. Good night, Jorge. Thank you. Mike says, owning the float. I'm coming back to YouTube and pumping AMC so all you guys can make some cash. All right, Mike, let's freaking go. In front of AMC or in front of Regal is the real question. Mike, I don't think you were here earlier, but I bought some IMAX also. Just a handful. And I got called out on my AMC shares on Friday. I had $3 strikes on my covered call. So I'll be in cash on Monday morning trying to decide what to do with the money I allocate towards trading AMC. Tough times. I hope it keeps moving. I'll jump in and ride the momentum. Please answer Frank's question, Anya says. All right, let me find you, Frank. Oh, he's over on Mediocre channel. Okay, here he is. He says, I'm not seeing everyone's chat in the chat window, only Gus. You guys know why. Frank Esposito, look at the chat on YouTube. Actually, here in the video. You guys can see the restream chat, right? Here, I'll take it away. I'll take the chat away. Now you can see it. Because we have multiple people, Frank, I put the chat up on multiple YouTubers in this live stream. I put the chat up here on the screen, and you have to read it there. That way, if you're watching on Mediocre's channel, you're only going to see chats from people on his channel. But if you watch the main screen, you will see everybody's chat. Have a great day says $1 is possible in the charts. It might be possible in the charts. Have a great day, but I don't think it's logical in terms of market cap. Muner says, I'm making a living out of selling options. Real or am I crazy? I know people that are making a shit ton every week selling options. It all is relative to your position size and your timing on the trade. There are guys in the Discord that are, selling them sometimes first thing Monday morning for 5 cents. And then I wait till Tuesday and sell them at 18 or 20. There are other weeks where they sell early on Monday and make a lot. And I wait and I have to sell them for less. It's all about timing. It's about timing and your strike price and how many shares you have that you're selling them on. Kevin W., what's up, amigo? He says, just logging in after months of ignoring stock talk. It's sounding like I need to day trade this now instead of buy and hold. I don't give any specific advice, Kevin. I did say at the beginning of this year for me that this was going to be a volatility trading year for AMC. Why? Because the company's actively diluting and box office is expected to be flat. Knowing that box office is going to be flat tells me that revenue should be flat. So I should not expect any meaningful run-ups. Could want to happen? Yes, please do. But
Absolutely.
I'm not going to live day to day counting on that. I'm going to live day to day trying to make the most money I can, trading it intelligently. So that's my plan. You guys do whatever you want.
Absolutely, Tony. Well said.
Have a great day, says AA wants to ruin the share price so his Apollo buddies have a chance to buy AMC. Maybe so. But you know what? If he ruins the share price, guess who else can buy it? Mm-hmm. Guess who else will? Why would they buy it? Why would they do that? Have a great day. Because they're what? Buying it cheap, waiting for it to run up? Fine with me. Mediocre, how much did you buy when the price tanked when Antara got it for 68 cents? How did that work out for you, Mediocre?
It worked out really well.
It worked out really well. Are you mad that Antara got a cheap price?
Not at all. Thank you.
Because why? You traded with the big money. Guys, fucking pay attention. Pay attention. Quit being so negative.
I had thousands of shares of APE.
Pay attention to what the big money is doing. If it goes down and you think it's going to go down because Apollo's going to buy, maybe you ought to ask yourself, why are they buying? Maybe you should think about that.
Why do they want the company if it's going to go bankrupt? That's a good question, Tony.
It's not going bankrupt. I just see that as a very low probability outcome. He's got a lot more shares to dilute with. GT, what's up? He says, been a minute since I hung out with y'all. Welcome back. Learned a lot over the past few years. He says, Tony is the real deal. Thank you for your time, Tony. The most hated YouTuber. Thanks for hanging out with me. We're trying to get Mediocre to the number 2 most hated YouTuber.
No, Tony's trying. I'm not really trying.
Frank says he bought Ape and AMC when Antara bought. Gus says Adam Aaron haters are all females. Well, some of them identify as male, Gus, but I can't say what's under the skirt. I don't know. Markets with May. Anya says, how come I'm trying to get the screen side by side? Oh, it's because I have this on here. Let's get rid of that. Anya says, Marcus with May says, no one will let AMC go bankrupt. I trust her brains. Yeah, Anya, none of us know for sure. And I'm sure May would tell you that as well. But guys, I know there are YouTubers out there telling you that private equity wants to buy up companies to bankrupt them. I want you to think about the logic behind that statement. We live in a capitalistic society where people make trades to make money. Who makes money when something goes bankrupt? Nobody. Unless the company has assets like IP, patents, real estate that they could
AMC
flip.
doesn't though.
Right. If they have assets that you could flip profitably in a bankruptcy, maybe you could make that case to me and maybe I'd agree with you. What does AMC have? It doesn't have anything. They barely have cash. They have no real estate to speak of, and they've got negative 4-6 billion of liabilities on the balance sheet. There's going to be no winners in bankruptcy. Even if they took it bankrupt, the lenders are going to lose most of their money. They'll own a non-profitable company that they'll have to recapitalize by forgiving all the debt, taking new equity, and then maybe one day flipping it. I don't see the logic in doing that. You're going to take a multi-billion-dollar loss to hope to make it up in a couple years when everything is fixed. Doesn't make sense to me. AMC is not a great bankruptcy target. You know who would be a great target for someone to come buy it in bankruptcy for pennies on the dollar, like what happened to Bed Bath & Beyond?
What's up, Pixie? What's up, Gorilla Gardener? Yeah, I don't think bankruptcy's even. I mean, Adam Aaron, they've already said that it's basically off the table. I don't understand why people are still talking about that.
Could it happen? Could a bankruptcy happen? Hey, I've said this before. If box office does not improve by 2026, we have a serious talk ahead of us. We have serious talk because AMC cannot operate profitably at these levels. So if we're not improved by 2026, something will break. They have a year or two to try and fix it. And that is
as long as they can keep the lenders happy.
As long as they can keep paying the interest payments and have enough cash to pay the bills. And so that's why I'm watching cash burn and I'm watching box office. That's what I'm watching this year. And if I see it's not going well, what are we going to do, mediocre?
I'm out.
We're out.
Done.
Exactly.
Tapping out, baby.
Magnetic. We're not going to be doing the the Troika, Bed Bath & Beyond, Redbox, MMTLP. We're not going to be holding into bankruptcy hoping for a squeeze. No, not me.
I'm not going to be able to do it, Tony. Can you do it?
I will not. Someone said Pixie's in the house. I didn't see her chat. What's up, Pixie? If you're here, let us know. Gorilla Gardener, what's up, amigo? Mediocre, can you entertain them for a second while I refill my
Absolutely. What do y'all want to talk about?
Hit Mediocre with a tough question.
Let's go. Somebody asked me something.
Somebody asked him something about me. Is Tony really trading exactly in real life? Because Mediocre talks to me all day. Is he really doing what he says on YouTube?
Tony's a bot.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, Tony's trades are legit, and I know this because I like to fuck with him about them. To be honest, I don't know that. I harassed him all week about the $3 call he sold because it just was too close to $3 for me, for my liking, you know. But I mean, they got a lot of premium, so I mean that's it. They trade. How's EverSource Energy doing on you? I haven't looked at it in a while, but I do still like it. I don't think you could really lose with that one. Hawaii Electric. That one still interests me. I'm not in it at the moment, but I look at it. I know Tony doesn't look at that one, but
I do look at it.
do you?
I look at HE every week. Yeah.
I like that one. I'm just waiting for the right time.
1044. It's a very speculative play, Hawaii Electric.
It is.
And some of us used to trade it. And I think everybody's out of the play at the moment, right, Mediocre?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's in it.
God dang, man. It hit 874 on April 16th. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew it dumped, but dude, we make so much money on premium with AMC. I can't mess with it.
Yeah, I think if you're playing Hawaii Electric, we were playing it back here in August, September, October.
Yeah.
On this volatility, and then the volatility kind of dried up and it became a little boring, and then it started tanking. But I wonder what news, Mediocre, was driving this big dump in the price.
I think it was some overall market that did that.
Hawaii Electric is the company that's being sued over. Oh, they had their earnings too, Mediocre. They're being sued over the fires in Hawaii. So they're either going to go bankrupt if they lose the lawsuit, or they're going to go back up to, likely 20, 30, 40 bucks. So that's the gamble.
I think it was Lahaina, right? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, Lahaina.
The wildfires there. That's rough. I think they win their lawsuit, but I think they're going to try and pay out something to the community anyways. I know they're offering money to those people, in some form or something, but I'm not certain on the details.
Man, if I would have known, Mediocre, I wasn't paying attention. If I would have known it dropped to 874, I might have thrown a little bit of coin at it.
I know. Anything under $10, I think, is kind of solid, but I haven't done anything yet.
It's solid as long as they don't BK.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why Daddy-O ain't in there.
Yeah, it is a gamble play. It's a scratch off ticket. Anya says, "I am a gambler. I am in HE. So you also like to live dangerously."
I'll tell you what, me and Anya sat there and we did a bunch of DD on that ticker together. So I think she has good information on it. I think she's well aware of that too, Tony, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Sparky says you don't exercise an option you sold. You don't do anything. Yeah. Are you talking about my options? Was someone asking a question about my options? Oh, Maple says, "Hey, Sparky, if I want to exercise my $3 sold put, will I be buying the stock at $3? Yeah. Whether you're selling cash secured puts or selling covered calls, if it ends up in the money, you don't do anything. Your broker will take care of that for you. So when I bought AMC a few weeks ago, I had some of it. I bought cash like at 260, 280. Some of it I bought by selling cash secured puts. So on Friday, when it closed under $3, I didn't do anything. Monday, I woke up, my cash was gone, and I had all those shares. So the broker just, they take care of it. And by the same token, since I sold $3 calls for this last week and it closed over $3, I had made 20-cent premium. So my, break even on that option trade was around 320, but my basis was well below $3. So profitable trade overall. But I will wake up on Monday morning. I will not have any shares. I will have all cash. And that's the broker. They just do that. They take care of exercising for you.
You want to hear what happened to Rolf?
Yeah.
So Rolf sold the 350 cash secured put. And
last week?
It was in the money. And he never got the shares today.
Well, today's Saturday. He'll get them on Monday.
No. It usually goes through with him on Saturday. He got all his money back, but not the shares. he thinks that they just didn't do it because the person who owned the shares didn't want to give them up, which is possible. That could happen too.
Well, let's check in with him on Monday and see if that's the case. It is possible.
Yeah. But I thought that was weird too. But we had that conversation this morning. I'm like, wow, that's weird. That is weird.
GT says, what are you sipping on? It's some gold tequila. I found a bottle. Where did I had, do you guys remember that friend I had over that was stealing my tequila and refilling it with water? So
Oh
I
my
moved
God.
I moved all the bottles out of the bar. I have a bar back there with glass shelves and lights, and I had stashed them in various places. And I was doing some spring cleaning, and I found this bottle. I was like, oh, I didn't know that I had that. So I threw it in the fridge, and I found it again. I noticed that I had it yesterday, so I opened it up, and I got a piece of ice here and some gold tequila, just sipping it straight. It's very smooth. I don't know what the brand is, but if you're curious, I'll go grab the bottle. It was the last bottle of what I was going to do my tequila tasting party with.
I'm just drinking some San Pellegrino drinks.
Anya Mediocre says, what other option does Maui have for their electricity other than HE?
None. That's why I like it.
I wonder how that would work if they bankrupt. I mean, clearly the company's not going to go anywhere. How does that work if they bankrupt?
I don't know. These are one of the things me and Anya were talking about back when we were doing all that. It's how can they? They're going to need that company. That's the only electrical company in Hawaii.
Maybe they bankrupt. They wipe out shareholders. They say, sorry, we can't pay your claim. And they just reorganize under a different name.
That's the only thing I can think of.
But yeah, I mean, the infrastructure, it's going to be the same infrastructure. It's going to be the same everything. The cats are stalking me behind my back, Mediocre, because they're getting hungry. Mama needs to get home soon. Alex has a good point, Mediocre. He says it takes a lot of money when you have a high average and a lot of shares to average down. Some of us don't have infinite money. We totally get that. What would you say to someone, Mediocre? And we have people like that in the Discord that are stuck with a high cost average, so high that, I mean, gosh, there's so many threads you get into when you're stuck with a high cost average. Do you even want to average down on a risky play? That'd be my first question. Or do you want to take, if you had any extra money, might it be smarter to put it in a different play that's not so risky?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you got to ask yourself. Why am I averaging down on a money losing company? Once you clear that hurdle, if you say, all right, I understand the risk, but I want to do it, where do you go from there, Mediocre?
I mean, depending on what you do, if you exit the play, you could take that money and get into something and then just start fresh in that, or you can average down either way, or you could start averaging down and just take the cash and not reinvest it. There's many things you could do,
The
but
other
to
thing
sit
that,
there and do nothing, I mean,
I think doing nothing is the worst possible strategy. You're basically in a hope and pray strategy. One thing I like for the do nothing people is even if you do it in brackets, is if there is any push up. I mean, if it went from 3 to 6 and it topped out at 6, that might be a good exit to take on part of your position. It's better than 3. And then you get some of your cash back and you can reinvest that into something that makes you money. Or if you just love AMC, wait for it to drop back down to 3 and then take some of that money and rebuy it. I mean, there's so many ways out of it, but the doing nothing thing is, I hate to see people being helpless.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You could, not telling you to do this, but you could withdraw all the money from AMC and stick it in an index fund and let it grow on its own. You don't have to do anything there. I mean, I don't know. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying that those are options you should consider, things that's going to generate you some form of money back on what you're already underwater. A loss is a loss, whether that's the thing. Some people will tell you that it's unrealized. Don't worry about it. You heard that one, Tony?
Oh yeah, all the time. You only lose when you sell.
Yeah.
I don't know. In college, we learned about unrealized losses. It's also called opportunity cost. I mean, every day that you're sitting not having that money making you money is an opportunity cost. So there's a reason that some of us took active charge. I for a while treated AMC differently, hoping that something would happen, and participating with the community of retail traders. But then the play kind of changed on us as they came out with AMC and APE and ran out of cash. And I had to fall back, come up with a new plan, a new strategy to not get run down from, what were we at, mediocre, before the AMC APE conversion, $40, and now we're at 3.
Yeah.
I had to take it. I talked with you guys for a year about what was going to happen. And I'm not willing to hold things down to 0. I'm just not.
No. I'll be honest. I mean, I should have been out of this play much sooner than I actually was, because there was no reason for me to take my loss at all. And I didn't really take a big loss, but it took me a little bit of time to move the money around and do what I did, which put me a little underwater in AMC and in APE before the conversion. But I resolved that with APE. I actually repaired some other bad positions on the back of APE too, which I won't really talk about. But I don't know. I mean, it's about, you have to make moves to make money in the market. You can't just sit there because, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know what your opinion is, but every time I've just sat there, I've never made any money. So I don't even think. I think I hear people say that you know that Warren Buffett made his money buying and holding. Like, he did not make his money buying and holding people.
Even if he did, mediocre, he wasn't buying non-profitable companies. That's the thing.
No, I agree, but he definitely was not buying and holding. He was selling cash secured puts to protect his position.
Sparky brings up the very important point of a wash sale. Yes, if there comes a point where you sell any stock into a run up and you plan on rebuying, if you have a very high cost average, let's just say 40, 50, 80, $100, and you're sitting at $3.30 right now on AMC, and it runs up to 6, and you're like, all right, I don't think it's going to go higher than 6, so I'm just going to take the $6. You're taking a loss, right? From whatever your high cost basis is to $6, that's your loss. And you will have years, decades, depending on your position size, where you can write off that loss $3,000 a year or whatever it is. But you will have to, if you want to, take some of that cash and buy back in on a dip. If it runs up to 6 and you say, I'm going to take the 6 and wait for it to drop back down, make sure you wait 30 calendar days, or you will invalidate the ability to take the loss. That would be a wash sale. sell it and it drops to $3 the next day and you buy back in, you just blew your chance. So
So yeah, it's a taxable event at that time. So you don't get to claim taxes on that money, right?
it's
As a loss.
right. I mean, you could still trade through it, but you'd lose the tax benefit, is what we're saying.
Exactly. And that tax benefit, believe it or not, I'm not a tax professional, so don't fact check what I'm telling you. If you are down, say $10,000, just for the sake of this argument, you can only write off $3,000 a year in tax write-offs, but you can write it off for many years. It's not just 1 year. So you can write off 3,000 of that money this year, the 3,000 the next year, until you get back to your 10,000. But you can't do it all at once.
Until you've exhausted the 10,000 write-off.
Yep. So that's the thing. But if you don't really care about a wash sale, you're not going to pay any. A wash sale doesn't mean that just because you sold for a loss, that you got to pay taxes on that money, everything you accrue after that. That's really not what that means. You could still say you had 30,000, just for sake of argument, and now you're sitting at 10. You created a wash sale. From what I understand, you could trade back up to that 30,000 and not pay any taxes. Anything after that 30,000 is when you start paying taxes again. But I'm not a tax professional. I would say check with a tax professional on that, but that's my understanding of it.
Nick says on Friday morning he sold $5 strike calls expiring May 10th for 5 cents. The option price was flat all day, as was the stock price, I think. But then they jumped to 15 cents a contract towards the end of the day. Well, we had a end of day run up, so we would expect that, right, Mediocre? We'd expect the contract price to increase.
Yeah, if the stock price increases, the contract price is going to increase in value.
This is let me make sure I'm on the right day. 5-minute chart, May 3rd. The first half of the day, the stock was trading down to flat. So that's why your option premium was flat. And then when you get this big move up, people, the market makers are going to adjust the price.
Absolutely.
Whatever what do they call it? Black-Scholes formula is going to
implied
adjust the
volatility
price.
increases.
And so, yeah, that's why sometimes when these guys are selling their covered calls first thing on Monday morning, depending on what the premium is, I might wait half a day or a day if I think the price is going to go up, so I can sell for higher premium. I got lucky over the last couple of weeks beating some of them on the premium, but there have been weeks where selling first thing Monday morning, they made more money than me because the stock only went down the entire week, right, Mediocre?
Yeah. I mean, the other day we did better than everybody else, including Daddio, who I help. I mean, it is what it is, right?
It's all about timing.
Yeah, they got, I think, 6 pennies, and I got 17. You got 20. I mean, it's only pennies, Tony. Who cares?
I got 18 and 20 because I sold them in batches. So my average was 19.
Yeah. I got 17, which I was very happy with. It's only pennies, Tony. Don't worry about it. It's just pennies.
That cracks me up. It's amazing how much pennies add up when you multiply them times 100 and then thousands of shares.
I know. It's amazing.
Maple Blue says,
away.
if I sold my big loss on using broker A and buy back on broker B, will I still be able to use the big loss? You still have wash sale is it's the IRS. They don't care what broker. And
Yes.
from what I understand, and I didn't know this originally, even if you and if there's any CPAs or anybody who can validate what I'm saying, even if you sell shares at a loss to lock in a taxable loss, don't buy call options.
Yes.
Because it is my understanding that options still count as what's the word they use? The
Uh,
essentially the same,
Equal.
essentially
Yeah.
the same.
Right.
I want to say equity, but I don't feel like that's the right word. I'm not a CPA.
I can't remember the word they use, but yes, you can't do it
It's
because
essentially the same thing. So don't buy call options either, or your accountant's likely to tell you we can't write off that gain. You still have a wash sale. Just don't fucking trade the stock for 30 days, period. I feel like this would be a good topic to have a CPA come on and talk about. I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about wash sale. I want to talk about pattern day trading. And what's the other one that we always run up against, mediocre, that people get hung up on? Pattern day trade.
uh, when you use up your balance, what's it called? I can't think of the name of it at the moment.
Yeah.
When you
It
when
has,
you when you buy a stock and then you sell it in the same day, and then
what the
you
heck is that
trade.
called when you when
I can't
when
remember what
you're
it's called.
when you're trading on cash that hasn't cleared yet? What the
You can
fuck is
only
it
do
called?
it 3 times. They'll get mad. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head at the moment. I'll think of it in a minute.
I'm wanting it is settled funds, but there's another word that your broker is going to spank you with, and
It happened to Richie. I told him, don't do it.
I can't remember it because I avoid it, but uh,
Now, you
shit.
can't trade with unsettled funds. That's really what it's
It,
about.
I know. Yes, it's settled cash versus unsettled cash. Good faith. Thank you,
Good faith. Yeah,
Dennis.
thank
That's
you.
it.
That's it.
It's a
Good
good
faith
faith
violation.
violation. Thank you. God damn it! I hate getting old. You just forget stuff that you should know. You If you are in a cash account, guys, you don't need to worry about pattern day trading. That only affects people that are in a margin account. But you do need to worry about good faith violations if you're in a
That's
cash
right.
account.
Right.
So you don't want to buy something and sell it the same day if you are exceeding, and then rebuy something else if you are exceeding the amount of settled cash in your account. That
But
might
if
be
you
over some people's heads. Maybe if you're interested, I'll do a video on it.
but if you are in a margin account and your broker deems that stock highly volatile, so they don't allow you to trade with margin, you could also get a good faith violation.
If, if you don't have $10,000 in your account, I would say why are you letting your broker put you in a margin account? First of all, call them up and tell them switch my account to a cash account. If you don't have 10,000, it's 10,000, no, 25,000, right? Mediocre.
Yeah,
If
25,000.
you don't have 25,000 in an account and your broker has you on margin, you might want to think about calling them up and saying, can you switch this to a cash account? Because then you can day trade without worrying about pattern day trader. They're not going to nick you on PDT if you're in a cash account, as long as you're only trading with settled cash.
Yeah, your money. But the downside to that I've noticed is if you're an options trader trading spreads. That's
Explain.
so if you're an option trader trading spreads, they require you to have a margin account. I
Oh,
don't know why. I
okay.
think it's
For people that are doing more advanced options trading strategies like spread straddles.
yeah, strangles, iron condors, all that crap.
Gotcha. All right. I don't
Or
typically do
or
those.
or
So
poor man's covered calls, right? The poor man's covered call strategy is a spread strategy. You can't do it without.
tell us what that is again, because we discussed that last week. Refresh everybody the poor man's covered call.
A poor man's covered call is when you buy a deep in the money call option with a it's a leap option with a far out expiration, and then you use that option to sell call contracts against it. You know, so you have to do a math equation to make sure it's going to work out. So if the near term call option you sold goes into money, all you're going to do is cash in your deep in the money call option to pay that back, and you're just going to collect a premium in between.
So
It's a
let's
spread.
look at one. Let's look at one just to, if, could we use the January 2025?
It's not no. You got to go to like 26
All
because
right.
25 is not considered really a leap.
All right. So 100 shares. That
At a dollar.
let me go to call. All right, $1.
Yep.
It's at 240. 240 is the bid.
All right. So 240.
It would cost you $240 versus $330 to buy 100 shares. So you're saving what? 90 cents?
And then you're going to
Saving
sell
90
the
bucks.
calls against that.
So you could buy 100 shares. You could buy a leap with a dollar strike price for 240 bucks versus buying 100 shares for 330. But then you immediately sell a covered call against that. Did I
Yep.
get that straight?
Yep.
That is not a strategy I have employed in all of my years, mediocre, but I'm gonna try it just for the fucking fun of it.
It
'Cause
works. It's the same thing as what we're doing. The only difference is instead of holding the shares, you're holding that leap option. And as
yeah.
long as the math works, where you're selling your your weekly option that you're selling, as long as when that goes into money, you got enough money to cover all the expense and you just take the premium, there's no problem. But you want to what your goal is to keep that dollar option and hopefully pay it off. You know what I mean? You want to pay it off. You want to get enough premium so you own that thing for free. You could ride it into 2026 and collect on that. Or whenever this thing spikes up, you could sell it back to the market, you know?
Yep.
You save
Michael
$8.
Michael says, what happens if you sell part of your shares at a loss, then you buy them back at a lower price? I would say make sure that you're waiting 30 days, Michael. Then you don't have to worry about what happens.
Yeah, because that creates a wash sale. If you sell any of them, it creates a wash sale.
I can tell you from day trading where I don't care about wash sales because sometimes I'm jumping in and out 2, 3, 4 times on a play, sometimes at a loss, sometimes at a gain. If you sell at a loss and then immediately rebuy back in, the broker is going to add that loss onto your cost basis. So it's complicated to explain, but if you bought at $4 and sold at $3, so you had $1 loss, and then you buy back in, it starts trending up. And I'm going to buy back in at $3.50. Your account is likely going to show that your cost basis is $4.50, even though you just bought in at $3.50 because you had $1 loss. It was a wash sale, and the broker's like, add that loss. You just nixed your loss, so we're going to add that into your basis. Your basis is now $4.50, even though you only paid $3.50. It's going to show on your account as your basis is $4.50. If that makes sense. If
So
it doesn't make sense, just try it sometime.
for me, I don't worry about that crap because I know I'm going to make my money back. I'm not worried about
Yeah.
if I'm going to get a tax break or whatever. But I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you I don't care.
If I'm day trading and something is going down, but then it comes back up, I'm not worried about the wash sale. I'm worried about following the momentum. Obviously, in a play like this, the dynamics of that changes. So I have sold positions where I mark on my calendar, set an alert for 31 days. You can trade this stock again.
I mean, some of you are down 90%, so I wouldn't suggest you do that.
You want to make sure you capture that loss. Wait the effing 30 days. You don't want to blow that.
Believe me, you ain't gonna miss nothing. I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Brutal. You're brutal, mediocre.
I'm trying not to be, Tony. I'm trying to be good.
All right, let's talk about another topic real quick, and y'all can keep firing questions, but I want to bring up let's see, just for fun, because I was watching a lot of drama on Twitter, and mediocre, I know you're not on Twitter as much as me, but the Mullen gang, mediocre. Here's something funny, and maybe this will dovetail into an AMC discussion. But there was an insider at Mullen not disclosing that she was an insider. I think she was a director of HR, and she was actively participating in daily space calls
What?
as a retail trader.
No way.
And one of the people hosting the space calls got a monetary donation from her for a vet bill of all things, which is ironic since I'm dealing with a vet bill right now. But people sleuthed this together through some pictures she had posted on social media that she was a director of HR in California at Mullen. And I think after this came out last week, she deleted her account on Twitter. And now the whole Mullen gang is up in an uproar. Who is a paid influencer? Is anybody compromised? How did this lady infiltrate? Who knew she was an insider versus who didn't? I almost wanted to block the word Mullen from my Twitter feed because the drama was so
That's
fierce.
a crazy story, Tony. I gotta be
It
honest.
is crazy.
Is it legit?
It is legit.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy.
I saw the
That's
photos.
crazy.
I saw the photos from her personal Facebook page, plus what was posted on her Twitter with her face blocked out. There's a lot of good internet detectives out there. And it kind of reminded me of AMC because there's so many people accusing AMC influencers of being secretly paid, of which I don't know any that are secretly paid or bribed. You know, I get accused of it a lot. Nobody's ever paid me for anything. Nobody's promised me anything. My wife says, I wish you were getting paid. But it
Yeah.
it does make me wonder, you know, are any of these people on Twitter pumping AMC getting paid, or are any of these people involved in space calls secretly AMC employees or contractors?
I don't think so.
I think a lot of them in many of the plays are just desperate bag holders.
Yeah. I think that story with the Mullen thing is crazy. I can't believe that it's true. But
It's 100% true.
yeah, but I don't think that's happening in AMC though. That's just my opinion of it. I know people won't like that, but
There are, I see, you know, guys, to be perfectly frank, the vast majority of the pumpers on AMC have me blocked because we speak way too much facts.
the thing
So
is we've talked to many of them. Like you know what I mean? Okay, some of them not that I dislike them. I dislike what they're doing to the community. I think they're not being honest. I have a problem with that, but that doesn't mean that they're getting paid either. You know what I mean?
yeah, I support their right to free speech. I support their right to talk about a stock they love or a company they love. I don't like when some of them cross the line with incorrect information, and I will call them out for that, and that's why I get blocked. Have I talked about AMC a lot? Yes, because I'm involved with the company. I like movies, and I would like to see the company succeed. But we've been brutally honest about the financials, and that's usually why they end up blocking me. talking
Do
about
you
the
think there's
financials.
any paid influencers or any AMC employees infiltrating space calls and such?
I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of them saying some very dubious things. All right, like my favorite one is the one where they were telling people to buy Highcroft silver coins because that would save Highcroft mining.
Who said that though?
I don't know if I want to say his name.
That actually happened?
Absolutely, and I called him out directly on it, and he blocked me. He was a frequent space call host. Now, the reason I don't want to say his name is
Oh, it's a
after
space call host. I thought we're confused. I was
no,
talking
he's
about
space
an
calls.
AMC employee.
After a year or two of being blocked for whatever reason, he unblocked me. I think he thought I was paid by hedge funds. I get accused of being paid by AMC, and the same day I'll get accused of being paid by hedge funds because I'm just honest about the financials. But for whatever reason, he unblocked me, and I thank you. I'm not against AMC. I'm generally 99% of the time long AMC, but I'm also realistic about the financials. The thing that I didn't like was these people telling folks that buying Highcroft coins was going to save the company when Highcroft has no inventory of silver. They had no inventory of silver to be minting coins.
Yeah.
Secondly, factually, you could look at the 10 Qs and see they have zero revenue. So clearly buying coins was not contributing to revenue.
Yeah.
So that's fine but they said, but Tony, we just want to show our support. Show your support. Buy all the coins you want. I don't care. But don't
Yeah.
tell people that's helping the company. That's
Right.
the point. Just
Right.
be honest.
If it's not generating revenue for the company, it's not helping them.
That's all. That's my only complaint. If you
My
want to
question is,
if you want
go
to pump Highcroft coins and you want to get people excited about the company, knock yourself out. But don't say it's helping the company because there's plenty of evidence to the contrary.
do I think that you might have an anonymous listener from AMC listening to our space calls?
Do I
Probably
think
do.
what?
An anonymous listener, like you know, a board member or something like that, could be listening to
Oh,
AMC space
absolutely.
calls.
Could someone from
Yeah,
AMC or a hedge fund be listening, monitoring social media?
yeah.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't
Absolutely.
mean that they're in that community, like what just happened with Mullen. I don't see that happening because that's a risk for AMC, right? They don't need that risk. No,
The one
they,
that I see getting called out the most mediocre is this guy called Grandpa Barney.
yeah. I don't think he's a he. I actually know Grandpa Barney, so I'll defend him and say 100% he is not Adam Aaron. He's not a shill. He's none of that shit.
I want to play a little clip. Can I play a clip
Go for it. Yeah,
of who Grandpa Barney actually is?
yeah. Go for it.
I can feel the power, I can feel the power. Feel the power. Yeah, money that is time and hour. Time and hour. Yeah, well, I better activate the power.
Grandpa Barney is a lineman up in the northwestern part of the U.S. He's not
Yep,
Adam Aaron. He's not some secret plant. We talk to him frequently. Voice chat. I don't know if I've ever seen his face.
I have.
You have?
Yep.
But yeah, he's not Adam Aaron. He's not some plant paying people to push an agenda. He's just somebody who likes the stock.
Yeah. He's got. To be honest, he doesn't. He used to go around everybody's YouTube channel back in the day and try to help them and all that, but he doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't do it because he doesn't.
Because he figured out what?
He figured out that a lot of it is nonsense. I'll just say it that way. We'll leave it at that.
Treetop says there were paid AMC pumpers back in 2021 that were not related to the company. They were just people making money off of diamond handers. Yeah, I mean, that's what we would call, what we would call a grifter. Someone making money, but not paid by AMC, right? Just somebody riding the wave.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, there's people like that in every play. I'm not going to hate on anyone that's talking about a stock if they're invested in it, or even if they hate it. If they want to talk about that, I'm not going to fault them for that either. I don't block bears as long as they are, can act like an adult. I have conversations every day with people that don't like AMC.
That's one of the things I had to learn too, Tony, is right. You want to know what their thesis is, why they think the way they think. It helps us make better decisions. I mean, I don't understand people who just want to block bears and get mad at bears. I don't do that shit because I want to hear what they got to say so I know if they're talking factual or not, so I could do some research on it.
There were people like Tara Bull who, as I've watched her over the last several years, I don't know if she was paid. I don't think she was paid by AMC. But I've noticed that, she rolls with whatever is popular. Whatever is popular. Tesla, Trump. She's very good at managing her social media, like in an enviable way. I can't do that. I can't just ride the wave of whatever is popular. I need to talk about what I'm personally interested in. And maybe she was invested in AMC. She probably was for a while. And then she moved on. Does that mean she was paid? I don't know. Here's what I'll say, guys. Here's what I know. Having taken the FINRA exam and knowing the rules, if you are paid, you must disclose it. And if you don't disclose it and you are paid, you are in violation of the regulations, and you are subject to penalties by the SEC. I know those rules. Therefore, there is zero chance that I will talk to you about a stock if I'm being paid to talk about it. There is zero chance.
Tony,
Unless
you tell me you're not
if
getting paid.
I was paid, I would fully disclose it as required by law. I know the fucking rules.
AMC's not paying you. You're not getting paid by a hedge fund. Nothing.
No.
What the fuck? You don't got a check coming from Citadel? What the fuck, Tony? Tony, you think I'm getting paid? Oh, I don't give a fuck about nothing.
It's just it's a very interesting conversation for me because of what happened with Mullen. And I do wonder about people like Tara and Trey back in the day. I think Trey was just a very, what's the word? He was a neophyte investor. He was very excited about AMC. He was right. His timing was lucky. And I watched him push the message long after this play started dying until he realized he was pushing a message that that was not factual, and then he just quit. He raged quit. And we've seen a lot of people do that, right, Mediocre? We've seen a lot of people quit because they're pushing a message that is not factual.
Yeah, I don't.
Or they learned enough to realize that what they believed was not true.
Exactly. I think that's most likely what happened with Trey, in my opinion. I think he came to the realization, just like I did, that we weren't going to win the fight because the way the market's designed, right? And I'm blunt though. I'll just say it. I think the only way to change the market is to go through Congress. And in order to do that, I just don't see it happening. And People could get mad at me for saying that, but I mean, just take a look at what's going on in this fucking country and tell me you think we're going to change Congress to fix the stock market.
There's
And I
nobody
just
on
think-
our side. There's zero people on our side.
And that's why I changed the way I think. So I think that Trey possibly realized that himself and said, you know what? He didn't want to lead people down a path that was going to destroy them. And so he already probably felt bad for what happened. I don't know if he did or didn't, but so
I think he truly did. I mean, he
I did
made
too.
money. He made money.
Mhm.
And then he tried to continue engaging with the audience, hoping it would have a second squeeze. Even I thought it would have a second squeeze
So did I.
in 2021. But then things changed.
Right. We should have never denied the dilution.
Chris says, I saw a pic on Twitter of today of Trey as a server at a restaurant. He looks good, and I'm happy to see him. I actually saw that picture too. Some female ran into him at whatever restaurant he works at. And yeah, he looked good and he looked happy. He's put on weight. And I hope he's doing well. I don't talk to him. Someone asked me if I did a live stream with him. I don't remember ever doing a live stream with Trey. I remember being on with Short the Vix. I did one live stream with him, kind of like an interview style. I remember being on one time when AMC was pumping and we were all excited and happy. We had like a multi streamer chat, and I don't remember who all was in there, TMI and a couple of other people. Like one day. I don't think Trey was in that. In the past 3 years, I think I've talked to Trey where he responded one time. And that was when he quit. There were messages I sent to Trey back in 2021 trying to help him understand this play where he did not respond. And I don't blame him for that. He had hundreds of thousands of people watching him. But my frustration of him pumping this play as it was running up was what actually made me create the YouTube channel. Because I was selling my call options as he was buying. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But when he quit YouTube, I was like, hey, man, I respect your decision and I wish you the best. And he wrote back and said, thank you. I think that, to the best of my recollection, that is about the only communication that I've ever had with Trey.
I mean, I've had some private chats with him on his Discord, but nothing. Like I never wanted to do any streaming or anything with him. It was just a conversation about things going on in the market. But he's been quiet, so it is what it is. And he's living his life, and I got no problem with that. I totally get it. If somebody made $1 million, it's like Roaring Kitty. Where's he at? I don't care. Good for him. I'm glad he made his money, and he's whatever.
They say he never sold mediocre.
Okay. I knew you were going to say that. I didn't even mean to spit his name out. What do you think I think, Tony? You think I think he might have sold?
I think he probably sold personally.
So do I. In fact, yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm pretty confident he sold.
Frank's trying to start up a whole new firestorm of controversy here in the chat. He says, if Adam Aaron was not smart enough to do the 8 conversion to generate cash, AMC would have been bankrupt by now. Now, Frank, it's no secret that I agree with that position. I am what they call a yes voter. Or some people would call me an Adam Aaron lollipop sucker, which I find hilarious. I'm just someone that reads a balance sheet and a cash flow statement, Frank. And without a doubt, AMC would have been bankrupt already in my mind. Just again, the invitation is open. if you are a CPA or a degreed finance professional and you want to come on here and tell me, you want to run through the numbers with me, how AMC would not be bankrupt right now, open invitation to do a live stream. And I will bring on a couple CPAs plus my DDD, and we will have the chat about how you think AMC would not be bankrupt right now if they had not done the APE AMC conversion.
They absolutely would have. It's not even a question.
Was it unfortunate? Was it detrimental to common stockholders? Yeah. Yeah. But they had few options and they would be bankrupt by now. And so far, in the year of me putting that invite out there, nobody's taken up the invite. I get it. There's a lot of people that say the company would not be bankrupt. I never have ever seen them put out their video proof walking me through the financials. And even if they did, the one guy that says the math doesn't lie, I did the math, the company would have had $20 million left. Well, he neglected to read the fine print about the $100 million minimum liquidity requirement. So that kind of torpedoes his theory. And not to mention that no lender is going to let the company get down to 20 million bucks. They're just going to say,
Tony, why is that? Might
we're
as well
done.
talk about why that is, right? Because they need capital if they take over the company after bankruptcy to keep it running. That's why
Yeah,
they
I
have
mean, it's bad enough that they're owed $4 or $5 billion. The company has no cash. What are they going to get in a bankruptcy?
right. They
Jack
need the
shit.
company so that they could stay running. So they need that cash because they're going to throw more cash at it. It helps them.
They get a company that's losing $1 billion a year, and they get 4 or 5 billion in debt that is worth nothing. Yeah. So yeah, they don't want bankruptcy, but the company needs to raise cash to keep them happy. That's the unfortunate situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was what I was trying to say, Tony. I don't know if you understood me or not, but the reason why the lenders want them to have that extra money is if they did end up going BK, the lenders had that money to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
That's why I think that's there. To protect the lenders, not to protect AMC. So they're not allowed to drop below a certain price, a certain amount of revenue, or not revenue, money on the balance sheet is what I'm trying to say.
Gus says, is anybody here a Dwight Yoakam fan? I am a Dwight Yoakam fan, but I can't think of a title off the top of my head. So I guess I'm not a diehard Dwight
Tony,
Yoakam
he
fan.
called me at 3:00 in the morning to ask me about Dwight Yoakam.
Gus called you at 3 a.m? That's why I don't give out my phone number, mediocre.
Oh, God. He was drunker than a skunk, too.
There's only 2 people that have my number after 3 years in this play.
I'm not one of them, so don't ask.
No, you are one of them.
Why you gotta let the cat out of the bag, Tony?
Gus says, Tony, you're next. I can guarantee you, Gus, in the middle of the night, I do not answer my phone. Did you answer the fucking phone, mediocre?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Lord. Hell
Gus
no.
is my buddy. I even woke up the wife for him. He wanted to ask the wife about Dwight Yoakam.
Gus, what is your favorite Dwight Yoakam song?
He's too much, man. Gus is on fire tonight.
I'm checking on Scarlett. I see that she's in the parking lot of HEB. I'm going to just text her real quick and make sure she's okay. She's been known on a very long day, Mediocre, to fall asleep in her car.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, even in my driveway when she comes home, like, what? Why are you in the driveway with your car running? She's like, I was just tired. I had a long day. I worked 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever. I just wanted to close my eyes for a second. And once she falls asleep hard. Now, I can't blame her, Mediocre, because I've been known to do that in my younger days. But that was on a Saturday night at 2 a.m. where I came home 3 sheets to the wind, parked in my driveway. I was like, you know what? I'm just too drunk to walk up the stairs right now. I'm just gonna close my eyes for a minute. But in her case, you know, that is not what's going on. I know last night she got home from work around 1:00 in the morning, and then she had to get up early this morning to go buy birthday presents for our niece because we had a birthday party to go to this morning. So I think she only got a few hours sleep last night.
Yeah. You told
So
me about that already.
I worry about her, you know, falling asleep in a parking lot.
She works
She's
long hours over there, doesn't
on the
she?
move. She's on the move. She's on the highway.
Well, that's good. That is good.
We both have the. Do you do the location sharing with your wife?
No. she might do the location sharing with herself, you know, share my location.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, I don't think that you should invade somebody's privacy like that. But after a couple incidents, Mediocre, where she fell asleep in her car, like at the Container Store or HEB, and like I get worried, I was like, babe, we're gonna turn on the location sharing. After 7 years, after never doing that in my life, you got this habit of
But you guys were
exhausting
on
your.
Apple. I'm not an Apple. I'm on Android.
Huh?
You're on Apple. I'm on
Yeah,
Android.
we both have Apple.
Yeah. So I think
So yeah, I did it for her own safety and protection because like I don't like wondering where she is at 11 o'clock at night and she's asleep in her car. Like it's fine if I can see that she's at Container Store.
like I know all my kids do that. You know, Snapchat does that, right?
Who does that?
Snapchat.
Shares your location?
Yeah.
I don't have Snapchat, so I don't know.
Neither do I. But my wife and all my kids do. So
GT says play some background music. I do have the ability with Restream to play background music. GT. Two things. There have been people that have complained when I play background music because everybody likes a different genre. So what genre do we pick? What genre do we pick to make everybody happy? And then the other thing that I worry about is copyright strike. Like I'm working hard for these pennies, GT. Maybe, you know, Restream, in fact, the software that we're using has built-in music. I could turn it on right now. But I don't know how YouTube is going to look at that music.
yeah. I don't know.
And I paid for Music Box or one of those streaming. Oh, save for all streaming. You know what happened? Every time I used it on a live stream, YouTube copyright striked my live stream. And then I'd have to go through an appeal process. And then Music Box or whoever, you know, they'd have to go in and every song I played on the live stream, they'd have to send in, oh no, he's clear on this song. And they'd clear 99 of them, but not the 100th one. It was such an annoying pain in the ass.
Mhm.
I canceled that thing within the first week. So
Yeah, Gorilla. Hopefully, I get my boat in the water this year. That'd be nice because I want to go sleep on the boat and just chill.
Six
Take my
Sun says,
laptop, my internet with me.
hey, Six Sun, while you're here, is that you in Discord that DM'd me? Dan says, use your guitar. One day, yes, I will play original music with my guitar, Dan, when we get there. Absolutely. That baby right back there. Still working on it. You're going to have to wait a while for that. Michael says, no music because you have people that can't hear you talk. We do have some hearing impaired people that watch the channel, and then they complain about the music too, like I can't hear y'all talking. I would, believe me, as much as I love music, I would love nothing than just to be jamming out to my favorite whatever,
The White Yoakum song.
Dwight Yoakam. Yeah, every day I have a different genre that I listen to. A lot of it ends up being country western, but whatever it is, I grew up in the 80s listening to Iron Maiden and Van Halen and Scorpions. Then I went into the 90s with the pop music and the dance club stuff, and then I switched into country western. I have a wide variety of music interests. So I'm never going to be offended. But every time I played music, somebody would complain on these live streams. But yes, I would love to just jam out to whatever. YouTube is a pain in the ass about that. I'm going to stand up, mediocre, and refill my drink. Let's move the desk up. Bye-bye. Dan says he can come on and sing karaoke. We can do that, Dan. Let's do that. Six Sun says it is him. Okay. I did try and call you, Six Sun, the other day. I don't know if you saw that, but we had that vet emergency. So
What's
I
up,
couldn't.
Scarlett?
Scarlett?
Didn't know who you're talking to?
I'm talking to Six Sun.
Oh, my bad.
All right. I will approve you in the Discord. I just wanted to make sure it was you because we get copycats in there sometimes. And by the way, Six Sun, can you refresh my memory while we're here live in the chat? And I'm going to refill my drink, and then I'll come back and look at your answer. Are you invested right now in any of the meme stock plays? That is my question, and I'll be right back. Mediocre, go ahead and take a question.
Frankie wants Tony to play the guitar. I agree with Frankie. Let's see. J-Dog says GameStop's not done. What else we got? Let's scroll down this list. Gus says he's invested in AMC up to his eyeballs.
Six Sun says he is still invested in some of the meme stocks. All right, good enough for me. GameStop's not done, J-Dog. I hope not. I'm thinking about doing a live stream starting pre-market whenever I wake up, 4 a.m. or so on Monday. So if you're awake early and GameStop's moving, tune in for that. I got out on Friday. Please go watch my GameStop TA video, which was uploaded just before this live stream, to catch up on where I'm at on the GameStop trade. I took my gains on Friday at the end of the day, and if it's still moving Monday, I will be getting back in. Gus says he's invested in AMC to my eyeballs. I never know, Mediocre, if he's joking or not.
He's joking.
Gus, what is your damn favorite Dwight Yoakam song? You're killing me here.
Gus got all his money. He's just selling puts now. He doesn't care about nothing.
The best thing about the way we trade is, if you're holding a long position in AMC, once you sell your covered calls on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day you do it, you're pretty much easy, for the rest of the week. Whatever happens, happens. And we don't have to babysit it. We still chat about it a lot, but we've already rolled our dice for the week.
Roll them dice, baby. Let's go.
If you are just tuning in and you missed all the earlier conversation, Mediocre, you still have all your shares, right?
Absolutely.
I lost my shares on Friday at a profit, but I'll be in cash on the AMC portion of my portfolio on Monday morning and trying to decide what to do ahead of earnings. Not by choice. I didn't want to get exercised. I should have sold 350 calls instead of $3, but I got greedy on the option premium. So it is what it is. We'll deal with it this week.
That's a good song, Gus. 1,000 miles from nowhere, Tony. You should play it on the guitar.
1,000 miles from nowhere. Yeah, I know that song. I'm not a singer, guys. There's a reason I took up country western dancing and not singing.
You got bars, Tony?
That is a good song to dance to, though.
I like that song.
That is how I met my wife, by the way, for anybody wondering. Country western dancing. It's how I met 90% of all of the ladies in the last 15 years. What a fucking opener. Do you want to dance? In Texas, it's just impolite to say no. Be it salsa or country western, everybody will say yes one time. Then it's up to you. Gus says, gonna sneak out the AMC with the prettiest girl. Gus, I want a sip of whatever you're sipping, Gus.
Who you talking about, Gus? I bet you I could guess.
Nick Son says, I also want to swing trade AMC. Good night, Gorilla Gardener.
Good night, buddy.
Gus says, grab her and pull her in tight. That is right, my friend. What is that phrase? Yeah, you don't even need to worry about some cheesy opening line. You just got to have a modicum of rhythm. And I've seen people that don't even know how to dance do just fine just because they're willing to say, do you want to dance? Frank says, I can see Tony in Saturday Night Fever. And I never was a disco fan, Frank, although I do like the movie. And I was alive during that era. I was not a dancer back then. After I got divorced, and I was like, what are the ways to meet women? What is the most easiest way? Okay. I enjoy country music. I really would. I see a lot of people out there having fun. When I have a 6-pack, I get brave enough to do it, but I'm not very good. Maybe take a lesson or two. And so I did that, and then I became pretty damn good. Good enough. And then it's just like shooting fish in a barrel, my friends. GT says, I'm sipping Jim Beam and Coke. Booyah. Dan says, Kurt is the king of pulling women. You're talking about my friend Kurt? Kurt he's definitely a player. That there is a reason why he and I hung out, because we both had the same strategy, Dan. And there's a reason why when my wife met him, she's like, "You're not allowed to hang out with him." she could spot a player. I was like, "You just need to get to know him. He's really a good friend." She accepts that he's a player, and she accepts that I was a player. But I was just a player waiting for the right woman to come along.
Was Curtis still out there working?
Kurt's still out there. Yeah, he's still single. I talked to him mediocre about a week ago about coming over and doing some barbecue and doing a live stream. I finally got a second I have a second microphone, but I'm missing the preamp for it. I forgot when I bought the second. These microphones are like $400, and they have no amp, so you got to buy a preamp. I think it's called a Cloud something or other. Anyways, it's another thing that you plug this in before your computer. And I forgot to buy it before Kurt did the live stream with me, so we had to fucking share this mic. But I have everything set up now. And I said, Kurt, let's come over, do some barbecue, have some beer on a day that Scarlett's working, and just have a fun live stream and tell some fucking stories of how we killed him out there. He's like, yeah, Tony, I like that. So we're going to get him on. We're going to get him over for some barbecue and some stories. Six Sun says, what is your opinion on crypto right now? Mediocre. What is my opinion on crypto right now? We're worried about the crypto cowboy. That's what I'm going to say. Six Sun.
I can't. I'm sorry, Tony. Oh my God.
Did you see our live stream with the crypto cowboy? I mean, he was telling us to buy, and that was just a couple of weeks ago up here, 69, 70,000, and we dropped all the way down to 56. Like, I don't know, guys. I've been in a lot of plays that have run up over the last 3 years, and everybody and their dog is saying you must buy right now. Scares me. It scares me to frickin' death.
How is the crypto cowboy? Have you heard from him?
I'm scared to call him and check in. He did text me today. I haven't read it because I was at a birthday party.
Oh, man.
Dan says, Kurt is your wingman. Croatia has never been the same. Oh, I told you the Croatia story, Dan, right? Yeah, Kurt's like, Tony, Kurt was like begging me, you got to come to Croatia. Salsa and kizomba dancers from all over Europe. He's like, Tony. Oh, man. I went on a couple of... I've been to Dominican Republic with Kurt and a bunch of friends for some dance slaying and a couple of salsa cruises. And right when I was about to go to Croatia, that was when I just had met my wife. I was like, I cannot go to Croatia. This would not end well. But they have a 2-week salsa bachata kizomba festival on the fucking seashore in Croatia. And gentlemen, I'm just saying, if you're single and you want to hook up with some, if you don't know what dancers' body type looks like, now take that body type and multiply it times every country in Europe, Swedish, Russian, German, what have you. They're all there in Croatia for 2 weeks by themselves. No boyfriends, no husbands. They're there to have fun. It is literally the trip of a lifetime. And ladies too. Ladies,
Time you need to learn how to dance, Tony?
Just learn a couple steps, mediocre. Just be willing to say yes. You don't even, I wasn't the best salsa dancer when I went on those salsa cruises. And I did just fine. I think you might have seen a picture or two, mediocre, from those days.
I have, yeah.
I did just fine. Ian, what's up? Ian says, haven't watched all night. Just finished watching the Toronto Maple Leafs lose, but I can tell all my apes I'm still in. Booyah, Ian. I don't care if it takes till 2027. This play will pay. Ian, I think most of us are generally bullish. I know people, the fucking Bears hate it when I say that. How can you be bullish about a money-losing company? Because I'm looking at the box office. I'm looking at
future box
office. And my favorite phrase is what one of the Bears said. And I call him a bear because he's not a hopium dealer. But he put it in a very honest way. He said, if you're invested in AMC, think of it like a call option on future box office. And I love that analogy. What does that mean? What does that mean? When you're buying a call option, you're betting on a future outcome, right? And if you are correct in the direction, that call option will make you an outsized return. But if you are wrong, then you're probably going to go to zero. Is that a fair way to think about the box office and AMC? AMC needs to have over 10.1, 10.2 billion to break even, and anything after that is money. I'm talking box office, 10.1 billion. If the box office starts getting over 10 billion to 11 or 12, AMC is going to be a money fucking play. But if the box office doesn't grow, it's going to be a horrible play. So that I like the analogy. I mean, I think it's legit. I'm hopeful. I'm bullish that box office will improve, that Hollywood will get their shit together, and that people will continue to see the value in going to movies. Plus, AMC is working on multiple new revenue streams. So I'm generally bullish until I have more information to tell me otherwise. What do you think, mediocre?
I mean, I agree with you on that. All that. I think that that's exactly what I'm looking at, right? And the fact that the CEO said that, basically, there's no bankruptcy is inconceivable, is what he said. And with those words, I would say I feel comfortable with what I'm doing, waiting on future box office unless something changes.
I need to be down here, mediocre, because you're so far down in your chair. There you go. All right. Six Sun says Russian women love salsa music. Yeah, Kurt has several Russian girlfriends, and I've met them. They come over here and visit him. Russian women love salsa music. So do Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian, German. The list goes on and on. And they go on the salsa cruises too, by the way, which are based out of Miami, which has been the bulk of my Miami trips. We turned those 3-day cruises into 4, 5, 6-day trips with pre-parties and after parties. It is a lovely time. It wasn't so lovely when I took Scarlett on one, mediocre.
Was that?
It wasn't so lovely.
When?
When the first year I met her, I took her on a salsa cruise, but I didn't realize there were going to be so many repeat customers, if you know what I mean.
Frequent flyers, Tony? Oh, man. I was reading somebody's comment over here. Ian's comment. He says Deadpool is $1 billion.
I think Deadpool could easily do $1 billion.
When's it
Looks
come
like
out?
a fucking fantastic movie.
I love that movie. It's comedy, and it's an action freaking superhero movie. What more could you ask for?
It's got my two favorite characters, Deadpool and Wolverine. if that movie's good, it will be one of the few that I see more than once. I can guarantee that. Dan says Anna Lagova is one of Kurt's Russian ladies. I don't know about that, Dan. I don't even know if I know who Anna Lagova is. Do you know who that is, Kurt?
No, but I'll look her up.
Mediocre.
I see you doing the same thing.
Yeah. Anna.
We need to go find
Is this
out.
a dangerous Google search? Anna Lagova. James Bond. Oh, Lord. Well, what was that lady's name in Austin Powers? Ivana Humperlat.
I like Austin Powers. I think that shit's funny.
The first time I saw it was at a corporate event. They paid for all of us to go to a movie theater and watch it together. And I was like, this is the dumbest shit ever.
It's funny,
it was either Austin Powers or what was the one with the very nerdy guy and his brother and his uncle who threw the football.
I gotta remember part of it.
And his brother was dating the black woman that arrived on a bus. What the fuck is that movie called?
I don't know.
Vote for Pedro.
Oh, yeah. What is the name of that movie?
It was either that movie or Austin Powers. The first time I watched it, I didn't quite get it and I didn't like it, but I can guarantee both of those movies, I've watched them like 20 times since then.
I mean, Austin Powers is hard to get your head around in the beginning. That's funny, though.
6 on Napoleon Dynamite. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that movie, Napoleon Dynamite.
Both of those movies, I don't remember which one was at the corporate event that I went to, but both of them, the first time I watched them, I was like, eh. But subsequently fell in love with them and watched them many, many, many times. In fact, if Napoleon Dynamite was on TV tonight when I was falling asleep, I'd fucking watch it. It's high to hilarious. Good night, Frank. Good night, Anya. Six Sun says my average cost for AMC is in the $30 range, but I'm not selling until we go bankrupt or hit it big. Six Sun, probably if you missed the conversation earlier where we were talking about what to do if your cost average is, considerably higher than the current price, you might want to scroll back and listen to that piece of it. I think Mediocre and I and many of us that are in our group are of the belief that it's better to consider taking active charge of your portfolio. But you're in the Discord now, so welcome. And I look forward to having some conversations with you. And I will never tell anybody what to do, but we can certainly lay out all the different scenarios so that maybe, if you've just been told one thing for the last 3 years, maybe all you need is someone to say, here's 5 other things that you could think about. And then you analyze your own risk tolerance and your own position size and see if any of them make sense. I can tell you, as we've said, we have all sorts of people in the Discord, all with different thoughts, and everybody's doing something different. Some are just standing pat. Some are actively trading. Some are averaging down. We don't push any agenda, but we openly talk about what the choices are. So there's just not enough. There's not enough talk about that.
We talk about everything, don't we, Tony?
We talk about freaking everything. All right. I see Scarlett just pulled into the driveway. So mediocre. What time do we start? 8:15, 9, 10, 11. About 3 hours. That's a pretty good live stream.
Yeah, it was good.
What else? So please go watch the GameStop video. If you guys are subscribed to the channel, if you watch a video, that tells YouTube that my subscribers are appreciating the content and they will recommend it to other people. So do me the favor, watch the video. I've got a $3,500 vet bill I need to cover this month. Watch every video I put out this month. It will help. And join us in the pre-market live streams, which I'm probably going to do every day this month. And let's wish all of us good luck in trading, because if I can make an extra $3,000 this week, then I won't have to spank Scarlett at the end of the month for her dog getting sick.
Tony, maybe
Yeah.
we get a nice little run up and you could buy in, and we get a nice little clean run up. And
That'd
you
be
can exit.
beautiful. That GameStop or AMC run up, I'd take it right about now. Mediocre. NASCAR says, did you catch MNDR on Friday at dump from 22 to 3? No, but there were a couple of other ones that we looked at dumped. What was the one? What was that one I was talking about with you on Friday, Mediocre, that took a dump? Oh, it was MMAT, MMAT.
Yeah, that one.
MMAT announced, oh gosh, yeah, I wanted to talk about that today. March, they sent out a letter saying, hey, we need y'all to approve the vote to increase the share count so we can raise more money. April, everybody voted and they said, hell no, you ain't diluting us. May 3rd, MMAT said, we're out of money. We can't find any lenders willing to give us money. We're laying off 80% of our workforce. I think chapter 7 or chapter 11 is next, but they're going to spend the next week or two trying to find anybody to buy them out. No one's going to come out clean on this one, unfortunately. But that shows you what happens when shareholders don't follow what management is recommending. You get layoffs, you get companies closing down. I got MNDR up here. 23.
You guys are going to lose anyways if a company's balance sheet is bad and they're asking for dilution, it's because they're trying to survive most of the time.
Right.
And if you deny them that lifeline to survive, then their purpose is moot, You're going to lose your money. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
It's a bad situation either way, right? The best thing would be pay attention to the financials before they get to that point and get the fuck out.
Yep.
But by the time you get to the point where the company's saying we need to dilute or we're going bankrupt, you're already fucked. Especially in a case like MMAT where they have no products and no revenue. And I keep on saying the one saving grace for AMC is they have increasing revenues, and the next 2 years look even better. And they're actively generating, creating new products. Like, this is not a dead company. It's a troubled company, but it's not like a lot of these Mullins and MMATs and so many others. They have a chance.
The best thing to do is to know
telling me there's a chance
before you invest in it. Do some due diligence before you put your money into it. Anything.
Asia Pacific telehealth provider announced a closing of its IPO of 2.25 million shares at a price of $4. The company said it generated $9 million in gross proceeds. All right, so that was on 4/15. And then what happened? I don't see the news why the bottom fell out. But a lot of these Chinese stocks, unfortunately, are not great plays. Can you let us know? Oh, I guess it was a low float pump. Holy shit, Mediocre! Look at that shit.
That's fucking brutal. Oh my gosh, I'm
Hi,
sorry.
babe.
I was gonna see if you can help me get stuff out of my car.
Help you get stuff out of the car? How many bags of groceries do you have?
Just one bag of groceries, but then I have like a couple things of lettuce that need to be carried in, and the beer.
Oh, we got beer. All right. Mediocre, thank you. Thank you, Mediocre. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. A lot of great questions, a lot of great discussion. I'm going to keep this screen up for MNDR and dig into what happened because that is horrible. 85% full. I want to figure this one out.
Oh my God.
If it's worth commenting on, I'll do a quick video on it in the morning.
What time frame is that, Tony?
That was one day, Mediocre.
My God. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Dan says, I'll pop on Discord later when you're up for a chat. Dan, I've been up since early doors this morning. I only slept a few hours last night. I'm going to peace out for tonight, hang out with the wife. Do you work tomorrow, Ben?
Yeah, in the morning.
What?
9.
She's got to work at 9 in the morning. So I'm going to hang out with her, even though she was off today and we got to do a birthday party with our niece. But she's been gone since like 3 or 4. So that's the longest HEB shopping trip ever, Ben.
No, I went to yoga.
You went to yoga. What else? Visiting the dog.
Went to HB.
PetSmart, HEB. All right. A lot of errands. Anyways, we're going to go hang out. And since she's working tomorrow, I will be around for all of you guys. I'll get some videos out. We'll see about doing a live stream. And I'm leaning heavily into doing that pre-market live on Monday morning. Mediocre, any closing thoughts?
I just want to say goodnight to Scarlett, and I'm not laughing at the people who are invested in this poor stock right here, but that chart looks terrible. I feel bad that I laughed, but that chart is bad.
I mean, all you can do is say, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's terrible. That's one day.
There is a channel that has a whole series of videos on the Chinese pump and dumps, and I want to get him on as a guest on one channel. He started his whole YouTube channel talking about Chinese pump and dumps, but I think he turned into a bear. Well, look at charts like this. You wonder why, Mediocre, why he turned into a bear. He looks for stuff like this to short it.
Exactly. I mean, that is a lot of money made right there in that red candle. I'll tell you that much.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this up and I'll dig into it in the morning, but I'm going to call it a night tonight. Thank you, everybody. We love you.
Good night, everybody.
Appreciate your time, and we will see you on the next one.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today.